Larry, your jokes, they're always so funny. Thank you. Thank you. Larry, how do you have so much energy? Thank you. Larry, what do you do for work? Larry, did you really read all of those books? Larry, are we going to have a good time with humor? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is the kind of humor that's going to be lazy in nature, lazy in a strategic way. DD, we're editing Cognitive Miser, which is lazy humor, because people might be intimidated by the title Cognitive Miser, which is a specific way of saying, what did you learn yesterday? Did you half listen, half focus, half monetize? Or did you edit via protocol hashtag CS183E? Because if that morning comment would have been a email, text message, or a web page, you'd be busy executing versus busy here sucking up new jokes around Cognitive Miser. Because number one, I got to ask, are you being lazy or are you being strategic, or are we going to be doing both? Because when we do Cognitive Miser, we're in essence being strategically lazy. Here is all the value of the video so that way we can just relax. It is mushi. That was a word that was coined by me, the coiner of Web3, Web4, Web5, Web12, which is very Web12. People just can't remember it. Mushi. It's memorize and write. You see, I already know the questions that are going to come up. Similar to Tom Brady talking to his teammates during the Super Bowl, which is, hey, we've previewed everything, we've asked ourselves the tough questions, we're going to make the right reads. In summary, we're going to pass this test. Tom Brady saying PQRST, preview, question, read, summarize, test, where what we're doing, which is all the value, is memorizing something and writing something. That is true cognitive miser. That's true strategic laziness. That's truly our ability to realize we don't need Larry Chang. We don't need, well, we actually do need Mark McCormack, but we definitely don't need Larry Chang. And I'm not talking about Larry Chang, Ed Chen, Bruce Wang, Larry Chang. I'm talking about Larry Chang, as in Larry Chang, John Teo, Tim Chang. Because these jokes aren't meant to cause you to think, oh, I have this idea. Let me ask Larry Chang and Larry Chang for venture capital money. It's memorizing and writing, which is one new American word, which is mushi. The reason we call it mushi is because saying memorize right is too out in the open. Obviously, you're supposed to memorize it and write it. Why? because someone's going to have a cliche question and we can pounce on that cliche question to make our first chunk of money. What do I mean by pounce on a cliche question? It's you think YouTube people or drunk girls ask dumb questions. That's actually incorrect. People ask honest questions, and smart people ask transparent questions. They're going to need an answer. This is why we memorize right. Because I'm here within my jokes to tell you what questions are going to get asked, especially the ones with monetary energy. You've seen people ask terrifically genius questions here on YouTube. For example, let me finish before the example. All we're trying to do is memorize right in anticipation of a question that will be asked. If you don't do this one time, your brain will never wrap around the fact that all that matters is hunting problems because we're going from knowledge collection to knowledge activation. That's cognitive miser, that's lazy humor because I'm doing your thinking for you in a funny way. That's why the truth from Larry Chang always arrives lubricated with comedy. And then when people laugh, they're like, oh, is this just comedy? What this is memorizing something, writing something in anticipation of this truth, which is rich people and successful people, they're going to have a transparent question. When we show them that we are ready for that question, now we're going to expand. That's a terrific question. That's from 37 questions, day 14. Darn it. I memorized it incorrectly. It's day 15, which is, hey, can you repeat that? Which is us doing Team Chang all the way, which is this. Memorize right is mushi. So, what we're doing here with lazy humor is predicting questions that are going to get asked of high value, answering them with memorization. Here are two examples. My script and my brain are chemical free, hyper focused, memorizing writing, which is if you're not taking notes right now, punch your non existent 6 new bank accounts at 7 figures minimum each. Why? Because the FDIC insurance only insures the first couple mil if you spread it out over 7 bank accounts. Punch those future bank accounts right in the face, flush them down the toilet if you're not taking notes. Example one, Larry, Warren and Charlie have left. Is Berkshire Hathaway even going to be any good? A question like that is what everybody thinks. That's why day 12, hashtag 26 days of Grokfour ducking BK, and day 15, hashtag 23 days of OpenAI at SXSW. That's why those two dates work. If you don't memorize those two dates, you're going to be lost when people ask, hey, the CEO retired. Is this company going to hell? It turns out Warren and Charlie, they should have left and retired 15 years ago. But they're leaving Berkshire Hathaway in the perfect all cash position. Why are they all cash? Did they miss the boat? They're all cash because they're ducking bankruptcy. They're all cash because they're using Asian intelligence to duck bankruptcy. This is us. This is us benefiting from today's topic, which is lazy humor. And if you're so lazy as to not like yourself, you're indicating to me a lot of things, none of which are good. I don't need your subscription. I don't need your undying devotion to watch future videos. In fact, I kind of get demoralized. I kind of get demoralized that you're watching your enthusiastically watching your sixth Larry Chang video. It's demoralizing to me. Yeah, thank you. Because the reason it demoralizes me is you should have just started winning from example number 2. Example number 2 is 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge. Is that Warren Buffett chapter 69? It is, because it sounds like a joke franchise. It sounds like a flippant thing that is not a real thing. So when it's a flippant thing and not a real thing, what happens is people that don't have time preference on their side, they can't memorize it and write it. What we're talking about is the topic and the exercise of lazy humor. Are we going to be telling some jokes? Yes. Did we already transfer all the value from the 60-minute video? Yes. Are you now caught up? Not yet. This is the value. It's a word that I invented, coined. The cool kids say coining a phrase, which is mushi. Mushi. Mushi is a thing that if you do it on YouTube within my channel, you will get more value from one time of Mushi than all your YouTube video watch time combined times 7, which is memorizing something, writing something. Whereas most people that you're in competition with in the school of life are half watching 2 screens. Creepy how this camera is 2-way. I see you on your second screen. I see you. I see you watching me in a little window on your computer going, oh my God, should I put a sticker over my camera? You see, I don't need the sticker over the camera because I'm just wild ass guessing. I'm wag wag, wild Asian guessing, wild ass guessing as an American. Wild American guessing, wild Asian guessing, wag wag wag, which is what we're doing with guessing strategically with the topic of lazy jokes within the topic of cognitive miser. They all mean the same thing, which is we're guessing at questions that are going to come up. 37 questions that used to be crappy questions. That was day 15. What is today? Today is lazy comedy day, day 16, Mushi. Because what we're doing with the 37 questions that we could have asked better, that we could have turned directly into not chasing money, not chasing putty, not chasing Larry Chang to say, hey, why won't you date me monogamously? We're anticipatory of the future. Dare I say, I do. Dare I say a specific question in the future, which is setting a person up, ambushing them for money. Am I ambushing you for money? No. That would be like ambushing a chubby girl to swipe right on a dating app that I don't have downloaded onto my phone, which is what occurs when people comment, hey, this should be on Telegram, or hey, instead of coming home with me tonight, Larry Chang, Saturday night, why don't we have phone sex over a telephone while we're 26 feet apart? That actually would be strategic and genius, but people don't say that. People just say, oh, are you on Instagram? And I'm like, is there a way to blow me on Instagram? Is there a way to come to church with me on Instagram? Is there a way to not brain rot your brain on Instagram? Could this be alive on Instagram? What we're doing, what we did was this protocol. It's mushi. It's There is no word for it in English until I made up that word for it, which is memorize something, write something. You see, when you experience a YouTube video and you don't take notes ever, no judgments, but it makes your brain not catalyzed to act. So, what Mushi does is it exemplifies the second example, which was two girls, one cup of knowledge. That was day 11, hashtag 26 days of OpenAI ducking BK. And do you see where two girls, one cup of knowledge was such a good joke franchise that it caused the subtle change one word make it amazing? What word did I change? I did a double DJ where I changed one word, OpenAI, to Grok. I changed one word, two girls, one cup, two girls, one cup of knowledge. So now someone said, oh, well, I'm not going to do a three-way, but I am going to meet up with a girl and I have a book. I'm going to bring the book and then we'll play a derivation of the game, which is one girl, one book. What is two girls, one cup of knowledge? Memorize this, because if you don't make $2 million with this, you're going to say, OMG, I knew Larry Chang when he came up with two girls, one cup of knowledge. This is how you play that game. This is something you need to mushi, which is you need to be able to regurgitate this as if you came up with the idea. Why? Because this will be the first time you've ever financially benefited from going to the library, mooching Wi-Fi, and then watching Larry Chang YouTube on Steve Chen and Chad Hurley's website. And then you'll realize Jaweed Karim, he should not have gone to get a PhD at the University of Illinois. He should have just stayed at YouTube and became a billionaire. True story, just like 37 Signals had Michael Kim. It's always the Asian dude who quits and goes to college. That's not what you want to do. When you invent two girls, one cup of knowledge, you don't say, oh, I'm going to go to college now because I finally can go to college now and get a BS, MS, PhD. This, by the way, is a PhD in psychology called Cognitive Miser. Let's solve the problems of being Asian. Here's how to solve the problems of being Asian or pseudo Asian. You don't water down the word Asian, you don't water it down. If you're Chinese, you're at the highest level of Asian. So when you say Asian, You water down Chinese stuff, that's not good. You don't see Chinese people cooking that rancid food, posting viral videos about swimming in E. coli. Am I slamming South Asians? No, I'm just talking about how I'm just talking about how it's racist to say Asian. Are these jokes, folks? Yeah, but they're also pretty funny because why are you calling me Asian? You're trying to water down my Chinesiness because mushi is an American word because Chinese people they will no longer mushi. Why are we doing this? Because Sunday is Chinese school day. You've never been to Chinese school, you've never played Dungeons and Dragons, you think chess is a meme, which is 4D chess. It is literally impossible to not play 4D chess. It is literally impossible to not play 4D chess because it's 3D plus time. This is something that you must memorize and write because in business, people say 4D chess. Oh, you guess what I was going to ask again? You always play 4D chess. That's four-dimensional chess. Make $1 million in the circles that I run in by saying, uh, you sound retarded because all chess is 4 dimensions, 3 dimensions plus time. You're trying to pay me a compliment by saying I'm playing 5D chess, meaning I can go forward in time, think about 4 moves ahead, and then come back to the present. 6D chess is where you go back in time and say, no, 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 no. Tower 7 didn't crash on its own. It was it was obliterated from the inside. 6D chess is shit talk because some people can go back in time to the present. So just know that it's 5D chess. Why are we coming up with explaining these jokes? Because Dungeons and Dragons, chess, video games, and memorized writing turns playing chess into the real world where we never have to play against the black side as the white chess pieces. As the black chess pieces, there's no there are no white pieces in front of us. And is that a racial joke? It is. Because white pieces, they because this, because black pieces think that white pieces are out to defend against personal black improvement, black chess piece improvement. Like that's just I'm looking for a reason that my continent of Africa never invented anything since Africa or the continent began. So when you've got a goose egg of I can't get out of virgin invention, what we then do is then we recruit kind of like Stanford after I already committed to the University of Illinois. They didn't just recruit one time, they recruited 28 more times. Ditto Singapore, which is like Stanford University. What did University of Illinois do? It got me ready to tell you you don't even know that you're at the University of Illinois right now. Why? Because you're getting fucked. You're getting fucked. You're getting fucked 6 ways to Sunday in a bad way. Wait a minute, Larry. I thought the University of Illinois was a pretty good college. The hardship that I faced at the University of Illinois messed me up because now I love playing the game on hard mode. It messed me up because what person of comfortable financial status and affluent money status who's heterosexual tries to date using negative budget? And notice how when some people were listening, they weren't listening saying, go Larry. They're listening with their own ego, where they don't want a person explaining to them where to go, which is, if I were to be your Waze turn by turn direction, don't you want the directions from a person who A has been there, two can give you turn by turn instructions? Because that's what Web 12 is what does your map look like? Have you reoriented via the ODA loop? Think about the word reoriented. That would be another franchise for quite a bit of money, which is everyone is disoriented because we're not even allowed to use the best Chinese American word ever, which is Oriental. When people removed and watered down Asian, you can't say Chinese anymore. You can't say Oriental anymore. You got to say Asian. Now you're looking at literally a pot of shit that South Indian people sleep in, play in, eat, and swim in. So, what we're doing is we're reorienting ourselves away from cow dung. We're reorienting within the ODA loop. Observe, orient again, decide, act, Chinese. OOODAC. The old way was OODA, page 57, Steve Blank, 4 steps to the epiphany. Let's observe, let's orient, let's decide, let's act. That is right from Top Gun, which is a school for dogfighting. It's a school for aerial combat. What we're doing here with Cognitive Miser, what we're doing here with Lazy Comedy is we're guessing and hunting for people that are going to have a question. And as soon as they have that question, we're going to say, 2 girls, 1 cup. Or we're going to say, oh, here you go. I can answer your question in 1 sentence or 50 sentences in 1 sentence. It's day 15, hashtag 26 days of Grokfour ducking BK. When you say that horrendous phrase, you now can do something that Chris Sims could not say yesterday. Who is Chris Sims? He criticized Larry Chang and Tom Brady by saying, oh, he's just a systems quarterback. My arm is better than him. Chris Sims, the retarded child of Phil Sims. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't say retarded, because the only people that should be referred to as retarded are people that are retarded. So that's another word where if you're no longer allowed to say retarded and everybody's a special snowflake, that's when you have a shit show. And then within this shit show, you have people eating shit. True story. That's why people don't eat at restaurants. Tastes like mush, tastes like shit. Feeding you shit on Web 2 while giving you shitty results to say, oh, you can't pay for rent with your 2 jobs? Would you like another shitty third job? And now your brain is broken because you want to take so many of these red pills that you're taking the black pill. Chris Sims, he was told by his coach, this is the play. And his coach told him 6 times he couldn't get it. He has to memorize Mushi. This is what Tom Brady did with quarterbacking shit. Is he mushied his way to possibly staying in NFL football longer than 5 years, because we all thought he got lucky to win one Super Bowl. Let me repeat that. Mushi is where you have to memorize and write out and recite 650 different football plays. Now, you may think that 11 guys playing against 11 guys is just go out and try to get open. It turns out football is like 5D chess, except the chess pieces, they could end your career with a really hard tackle. Therefore, the ball location, ball delivery, ball ball security needs to be on the ball, which is pretty funny humor, but I took enough care to not be a cognitive miser. I am a cognitive maximalizer. Why? Because the consequence of this video does arrive lubricated. The knowledge nuggets of this video, they do arrive greased up. The genius tidbits of lazy comedy, they're not a unlubricated dildo arriving because we're not prepared for these consequences. This is me explaining to you why every NFL scout and general manager said no to my mentee 6 times. This is why. Because these GMs now know that memorizing shit and writing shit is fucking motherfucking critical. Think about that. You're an NFL quarterback, you got to memorize 650 things, because during the course of a chess game, aka a professional football game, you're going to have 50 to 90 opportunities to bark out hashtag 26 days of Grokfour ducking bankruptcy. Turbo hike! Because if you don't have that down to the day, because something that affects NFL quarterbacks is there's going to be a fat dude. He's going to look retarded and he's going to look fat. What is his job? His job is to watch film on the other team. This is what football is. This is a quarterback room. This is Sunday. This is lazy humor. This is me walking you through why good results happen. Please be a lazy person and memorize one thing. Memorize and write one thing. I had to do this. Now you got to do it. I'm going to make it fun. You can tell I'm going to make this fun, which is this Web 12 video. It needs to be memorized for other people. Before memorizing it, at least use AI to at least write it out one time. Memorize, write something that speaks to you. Larry, you're hilarious. I'm actually going to try to make $2 million doing chapter 69, Snowball, 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge, day 14, hashtag 26 days of Grokfour ducking BK. Some fat person who's watching film who doesn't look like they ever played football on Tuesday tells you, hey, I watched this on video, expect this circumstance. If you can't remember something that was told to you on Tuesday when you're playing on Saturday, which is college football, or Sunday, which is pro football, you are fucked, because someone is going to have accountability. The NFL and professional college football is a let's win now. Let's win now. It is not, I have 3 years to wait for you to win, which is also these videos. These videos cause you to question, why am I watching this amazing content while simultaneously hating the the dildo of truth that is arriving lubricated? Because when you're not liking it, because there's double digit number of people in the room, a single digit number of likes. And what happens with hearing a coach, a mentor, a YouTube influencer, when you are judgmental of, hey, does this guy know what he's talking about? You get that reaction. You get that reaction, which is, maybe he doesn't know. I kind of don't want to know. That's where when you that's where when you intrinsically want to destroy yourself or not win, there are signs. When you want to self stuck and stay stuck, that is procrastination, because it's not necessarily laziness. Your procrastination, it's a strategy to try to preserve your dignity, preserve your ego, preserve your energy. Do I want to spend more energy than I already am listening to this Chinese guy who's got a lot of confidence and 10 really good points, but I'm going to reserve liking. I'm going to reserve and keep using only 2% of my brain. This guy, it feels like he's using 280% of his brain. You just learn how to play 5D chess. How deeply into your soul am I speaking? Let's continue with something actionable that is the Tuesday, applying it on Sunday. We get better day to day. And if you've never gotten better day to day, realize that you could be honest with yourself. Where was this week a great week? Will you commit to turning day 16 into a good day 18? We can. Do you know why? Because I wrote it down for you. Day 18 is Mushi Day. The reason we're doing Mushi Day on the 18th is it was previewed in Today Lazy Comedy. It was previewed today in Cognitive Miser. Let's bullet point, let's show off here. Let's bullet point 14 things within Cognitive Miser that, if you don't think that this video is jaw droppingly the best thing you've ever heard, you're a retard. Number one, lazy or strategic. We covered that, but I want to hone in on, I am so lazy. I know you think that I work super hard at this random hobby, but lazy or strategic is so strategic that you can then be lazy. You can attend football, basketball, baseball games. You can play football, basketball, baseball because you have so much free time to train. You have so much free time. Why? Because you're incredibly strategic with number two, the discipline of checking, the discipline of checking, the discipline of, hey, I had a thing on the, Julian, what day was it day 12? The discipline of Julian hearing on day 12, two girls, one cup of knowledge. The ability to take knowledge and act on it. Hey, I'm meeting up with a girl. I'm going to do one girl one cup of knowledge, aka one book, one girl, also known as where are my 24 sentences? No, you don't need to get better at business. You need to get better at discipline. Where are those 24 sentences? This is the 35th time I've asked. And this is where the discipline is someone asks you one time and you just gin out the 24 sentences. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the discipline of someone asks you to do something for yourself, which is, I can't believe you actually took action after listening to content. 3, 4, or 10 other people made fun of you, which is what? Larry's going to say something and he's going to have us do silly things. The reason that comment was said is protocol crabs in a bucket. What do crabs do in a bucket? They try to leave the bucket because they're going to die. How do they escape? Do they collaborate? No, they drag each other back into the bucket. This is why a Wolverine that you throw into Wolverine prison, they work with the other Wolverines and they do Wolverine shit. You heard crabs talk. The crabs don't want you to have discipline because crabs don't have the mental discipline to do a collaboration. That's why certain ethnicities are crabs in a bucket. Why? It's not racist to say that. It's just accurate to say that because there is no discipline. We now are getting that discipline. Thank you for telling me what your ethnicity is. Let's now try to be deeply understanding of Chinese knowledge. That's what I do for work. I, with a straight face, will tell Tom Brady, you need to chinky the fuck up and mushi out 650 things. Turns out I didn't tell him that. He told me that because I told him something and he said, oh my God, you're the smartest person I've ever met. Different story, different day. We're focused on discipline, which is you don't need to get better at business. You need to get better at doing what you said you're going to do, which is 24 sentences. 8 sentences for what you heard, 8 sentences for what you did. Oh, I heard 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge. LOL. I can't believe that's how you do a 3-way. That's the hook. That's real. How does 2 girls, 1 book work? It works to wire women's brains that are broken to 1, no more touching your smartphone. 2, have you ever read 10 pages? No, I can't read. Problem, have you ever taken sexual energy and rerouted it into knowledge energy? That answer is also no. That's why you're meeting for the first time the vagina whisperer. I am front running her psychological barriers. I'm front running her cognitive miser. The name of this video is Lazy Humor. Lazy Humor is a lubed up psychological PhD you get for free, which is countermeasures for a brain being default miser. Default cognitive miser. Countermeasures for your brain constantly rotting on Web 2. Countermeasures for your brain not being able to be disciplined, which is point number 2 of 14. Is this video the most amazing video that you've ever heard? No, that email was the worst email I've ever read about business stuff. It's number 3. What number? Let's review the 3 sets of 8 sentences because that business email was literally the worst email that's ever been written in the history of email or writing. It was literally the worst. You're literally going from worst to best. You're literally going from worst to first. We'll go over that in a second. You need to freaking focus. No discipline. No discipline. No discipline. Right there, no discipline. I come in peace. Oh, you don't come in peace. You come in 6 pieces. Piece number 2 is discipline. 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge. Oh my God, Larry, that was funny. 8 sentences about what you heard with a link or without a link, doesn't matter. 8 sentences of what you did, which is I had a date later. I brought 1 book. We did 1 girl, 1 book. 3 sentences, third set of 8 sentences, which is, oh my God, I'm turning this into a franchise called 2 Girls, 1 Cup of Knowledge, Larry Chang, co founder. You see, you're trying to, in your email, which was quite honestly the worst email I've ever read, because it sounded like you were going 18 different directions in under 11 sentences. Plus, you put it all in the subject line, meaning you actually don't know how to email. There's a subject line, it gets a limited number of words. This is your subject line. This is the discipline of email. This is also fixing time in our brain. Because in the way that you self referred to that email, that was a pretty decent email, right? Self reportedly, a pretty decent email. That's what you think a pretty decent job is. That's the level of your discipline. That's the level of your laziness. That's the level of your financial earning. Is you're smart, but lack discipline of 29th request for 24 sentences. What were the first block of 8 sentences to be? Watch Larry Chang video on cold open Yahtzee. I hate inside language. The reason you call it coy is to be a cunt, which is cunt, cunt oriental yellow. That's coy. Where why don't you just call it cold open? Or why don't you call it CS183D? Because what you're doing is you're lacking the discipline of play calling the play for what it is. But since you love COY, I'm not going to rip that franchise from you. We're going to keep cold open Yahtzee by calling it hashtag CS183 COY. You can't just call it coy because I'm going to guess your ethnicity, okay? It's the ethnicity that judges me harshly when I'm dunking on your head, going, why does Chinese guy dunk? When? Which is that hashtag, that acronym is so bad. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it because it's hilarious. Because Hecklefish screams Yahtzee. Ryan, no discipline, power of the pen. Number 3, tips on how to get 1 girl, get her number. You tell her friends, text her, be nice, kind, 4, ask her out, 4, 5, don't listen to me because I don't have 1. So, in the same way that you wrote that out, is I can tell, Ryan, that you are a Caucasian dude who has never written 1 line of notes from any YouTube that you've ever watched. This is number 3 for you, Ryan. Power of the pen. Because in order to capture the value of this video being the most valuable video you've ever watched, this is how to capture it, is using a pen. Why? Because for momentum flow, you lose momentum because can you feel how confident you are sitting here listening to this? It's not that I make it sound so easy. I literally have stepped out your steps like it's a turn by turn navigation. Here's the problem. Here's where you might lose the momentum and the flow is the mapping component you lose. The mapping component will make you feel number 5 underwater. When you don't put pen to paper, all these things that are so amazing, they end up causing you to feel like you're drowning. Why? Because because your map is in your head, and you being a cognitive miser within lazy humor actually causes you to drown and feel like you're underwater. But you've got a large dose of motivation. Let's do this. Let's get at it. Larry's got me pumped. That's going to subside if you don't lock in 24 sentences. If you don't lock in, hey, did I use Web 12 to benefit from the 60 minutes that I spent with Larry Chang? That's going to, underwater, is going to lead to willful ignorance. Again, willful ignorance is what you just typed out. Yeah, you can tell me that I'm way off. You can tell me that I'm way off. If you would have picked up the money, you would have just not done your ethnicity's cliche thing and said, cool, tell me again what cold open Yahtzee, the hashtag for it. Because I gave you one, and you that's from day 55 of hashtag 23 days of OpenAI at SXSW. You see, Pumpkin, what you're doing is willful ignorance and cognitive miser, where you're saying, Larry, you're wrong, or Larry, you're bruising my ego temporarily. Nothing about Web 2 helps you. Nothing about Web 2's interaction or me having you be accountable, because you try to explain Ryan's deficiency with COY, and I yelled at you for it. But it wasn't me yelling at you because I want to feel better about myself. I'm yelling at you by not even yelling at you. You're tone policing me. And do you see how this isn't being tone policed? I'm going to speak as if I have testosterone, being alpha of alpha males within the patriarchy. Or you can set aside your victimhood and just say thank you. Because this is what happens when when certain ethnicities help certain ethnicities, is a fatigue. Because sometimes instead of hearing, hey, thank you, Larry, we hear you're a racist. What? I just helped you get to $2 million doing two girls, one cup of knowledge. And then now you're going to call me a racist? That's how some people say thank you. That's willful gratitude going into number 7, compliments. Why is number 7 compliments? Because accidentally, purposefully, the willful ignorance turns into, I don't want to do it, it's your fault, you're a racist, versus, this is hard for me to do, I'm growing in my EQ, let me pay you a compliment. This is why certain ethnicities have a really hard time with compliments and thankfulness, because that's just the wiring of the brain. You can't call me a racist because I am actually much more your ethnicity than you are. Compliments. This is why compliments come so easily, because the money comes so easily to a segment of people, which are white females who are hot, blonde, and Caucasian. Why? When their ego gets bruised, they grow in EQ. Why? Because there's an abundance mindset. This is where I say I'm batting 1,000 when it comes to blonde billionaires. This is why on Saturday and Sunday, I only associate with really, really, really attractive blondes. Why? Because they're the lowest risk. Why? Because it's way easier to help rich people get richer. How does this benefit you? You're going to get over your bad self and you're going to find some rich person and say, I want to compliment you. I want to cheer for you. I want to get better at cheering for you. So, the way to attract top talent is you have the discipline to send 24 sentences. This is your inherent problem is these things, plus you haven't said thank you. Plus you haven't said thank you. Okay, you just said thank you, but I was driving for number 8, thankfulness. So, the reason that there's acts, what is it? Adoration, confessional, thankfulness, sublimation within the Christian mindset. Why do Christian people who play Dungeons and Dragons get super rich? Why are Christian people almost automatically rich? It's because there's an attitude of gratitude within thankfulness. That's number 8. Miser, number 9. So when you've deliriously gone quiet, it's from miser, where where it's miser. It's selfish, it's self-centered, it's small-minded. Miser. When we solve a problem in order to make money, we make Y% of the X dollar problem that we solved. Let me repeat that. So we're hunting for problems to solve. They have a value of X. Y is the percentage of X. Y is not guaranteed to be greater than 0, but that's what we're doing. Why is the unemployment rate currently at 20, 30% going to 40%? Yeah, it's 40% tomorrow. Why is the unemployment rate 20% or double digits? Because the government defrauded how to count if a person is unemployed. That's why. Why are so many people unemployed? Why is it going to grow so much? It's going to grow because employees are no longer trying to solve problems. In fact, if you understand what C-level executives, CEOs, CFOs, CTOs realize, is that a third of your employees, they're not even trying to do work. They're trying to actively lose value for the company. Let me repeat that. Some of your employees, they're not trying to solve problems. They're trying to create problems. They're trying to destroy value. What would you do with that bad employee? What would you do with that cancerous employee? What would you do? You would fire 80% of the people and you would actually improve the business. When Elon Musk did this, people were up in arms saying, this company will never work. And then the revenue tripled. And then that's miser, where you think that, oh, this world can't continue to operate if it didn't have me. Me, I'm incredibly cognitive of the fact that the world does not need me. I am humbled by the fact that the world does not address some of these issues that I've been talking about. Miser, which is when you're such a miser, you don't think that a person can be the opposite of a miser, which is completely selfless. Look at how many people come into this video and say, oh, this whole thing's a scam. Cool. Cool story, bro. 10, cognitive brain repair. Everything that we've done has the optionality of brain repair, which is Can you have some gratitude? Forget about thanking me. And I'm not going to have a joke for, hey, first person to spell out a hashtag gets to give me a gift card, because that's hilarious. We're going to do cognitive brain repair. How? How would you like to do cognitive brain repair? How? That would be pen to paper. Number 11, optimum brain function. Do you ever meditate? Oh, that would be chapters 6, 7, and 8. For optimal brain function meditation, your brain on meditation. After sentences, after chapters 1 through 5, which is the science of you. So, what book are we talking about? I know you're impressed. What book we're talking about is Memorize Writing, chapters within what Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Memorizing the whole book, that you can do later when you're a billionaire and bored out of your mind and you're trying to fix your brain. You can memorize page numbers 62, 64, 67, Turbo Hike, which is the 37 ways to ask better questions from 3 pages in a book. Limitless, chapter 4. Chapter 14, speed learning. Optimum brain function, speed reading, speed learning. Oh my God, breaking the habit of being yourself, meditating. So, what you're doing is you're memorizing things that other people have as a problem. So, let's say you're trying to pussy magnet or vagina whisperer, you're trying to learn programming called HTML. Ryan, are you still here? How to meet ladies. How to meet ladies. HTML. The way to do that is you blow their minds with how great your brain operates, because you're probably 5'9" and 5'9", which is plenty tall. Why? Because you think that everybody wants a 6'2" plus person, but then you're a little taller than 6'2", and then people are scared. Eek! His members probably too big. Optimum brain function, chapters 6, 7, and 8, breaking the habit of being yourself. So, what Joe Dispenza there is talking about is optimum brain function via meditation, because initially he sets up how your brain is scienced, the science of you, chapters 1 through 5. Larry, you're so smart. How do I make money? Can I hire you? Can I work for you? Bad question, bad question. Here's a better question, which is, how can you spend 20 minutes on the 16th day of 26 days of Grokfour ducking BK and playfully play with optimum brain function? And that is this: you bring a book to your local froyo shop. If you're not American, mushi is Memorize Right, froyo is frozen yogurt. We're a coffee shop. You bring a book, and this book is going to cause people to cold open Yahtzee you, where they're going to say, do you know how to read? But they won't say that, because why? They're a cognitive miser. They're going to say, human potential is one of the only infinite resources we have in the world. Did you read your book in 3 hours? They're not going to say that. They're going to say that if you're being cold open by Larry Chang, where I recognize Stanford athlete bringing a book. This is ideal, which is 2 books, 1 you. Is this a new game worth $2 million? Oh, yeah. What game is this, Larry? This is day 16. And this is how you know a video is going well, is when I pull out pen and paper, because this video is going so well. Before we did 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge. Now we're doing 2 books, 1 guy. What's 2 books, 1 guy? Come on. You guys have been in so many videos. You should be able to guess what I'm going to say. What is 2 books? 2 books, 1 cup? What do you guys like? This is the participatory. This is the OMG, we actually are going to have to talk. Who wants to talk? We can do Q&A. Who wants to do this franchise with me? Maybe $2 million is an infinite amount of money to you. And I'm going to ask you, see, you keep saying your low social language and you're so smart, but you keep dropping that low social language. And I'm trying so hard. Do you want to appear on camera and ask these questions? Because this will be the most amount you've ever grown. Do you want to jump on a Q&A to do optimal brain function number 11? 12 journal, 13 YouTube history, 14 curation. You're welcome for 14 genius points for cognitive miser. Good morning, Johnny. Pumpkin, do you want to do Q&A? We're going to wrangle your brain, camera on, doing 2 books, 1 cup of knowledge. Do you guys have feedback? Do you want to come on camera? Do you want to be wrangled in? You sound like a robot dropping CS183D, which is actually genius, which is actually from a different pansexual neurodivergent. Sam Altman, perfectly on cue, 2 books, 1 cup. On September 14, 2015, we memorized, wrote something, waiting for an alpha male, question mark, to ask the question we already had the answer to. What question was asked by the person who is unknowingly the non-employee co-founder of hashtag 26 days of OpenAI, ducking BK? These are questions for people. What you want to see these questions as, it's a pop quiz for $600,000. It's a pop quiz for $4,000. It's a pop quiz for $2 million. Why is it a pop quiz? Because the entire world is set up to benefit if you can memorize right, aka Mushi. Quarterbacking, Mushi works. Being a baseball scout, Mushi works. Being a social media influencer, you can feel the superstardom begin to percolate with, oh my God, this guy's got a special kind of talent that hits Diffie, because there is not a required reading list. And you saying that is cognitive miser, which is the name of this video, which is lazy humor, where there is not a future required reading list. There is just the identification that you have never owned a book that you've profited from. Do you have books that you have purchased? First person to say audiobook loses. And then you pull it out of your ass. You pull it out of your ass and you're like, look, I wrote down first person to say audiobook loses. And then you write down again, first person to say audiobook loses. Because we're doing two books, one dude. Two books, one dude. Larry, how am I going to make money off of the most amazing idea I've ever heard? This is how. First, let's define what two books, one dude is. Larry, I'm a guy who's trying to cheat the DEI system. I'm calling myself a girl. Cool. Two books, one blonde female with really nice boobs.com. This is how the game is played. It works every time. 98% of the time, as low as 95% of the time. It works every time. Let's get into it. This is going to have no risk. We're going to curate a playlist. What playlist are we creating? That's a question. First person to answer gets to give me a gift card for $1.80. Yeah, that's not true. That's not true. And I'm not going to put you in timeout, even though you're begging for it. That's the last vestiges of your brain struggling. So, because you were doing page 127, page 132 stuff, we're going to help you. Because, Larry, if you pulled out two drawings of bumblebees and started smelling them, you'd be locked up in an insane asylum. One, only when you're a danger to society while acting crazy is non-voluntary committal into an insane asylum. Also, what you're doing, which is cognitive miser right out of beta mailing, which is trying to out alpha a beta male who's showing you how to do two books, one dude. Do you see how amazing this video is? Because you tried to tear me down as per protocol beta mail. What is protocol beta mail? What book are we talking about? Is this another book that you memorized? This is Mushi. This is day 16. This is now a magical video. This is a magical video. No, Larry. No, but keep paying attention. Maybe pull out a pen because I can tell from your questions, your pen isn't ready to go. Two books, one person. You know what? It's two books, one dude. Two books, one guy. Do your notes look like this? Because when your notes don't look like this, you're screwed. And when your notes do look like this, you're rich. So the way I got rich is I took two books before AI. Jerry Detweiler, The Ultimate Credit Handbook. Mark McCormack, What They Don't Teach at Harvard Business School. Those two books caused me to ask the question, which was genius as fuck for middle 9 digits, which is, what if Jerry Detweiler, Mark McCormack, Larry Chang, Matt Smith, Steve Glazier were to start a company? But let's just say, to keep it simple, Larry Chang, Jerry Detweiler, Mark McCormack, as Larry Chang, co founder, CEO. The conclusion is sorority girls who are blonde and hot don't have an agent, a lawyer agent. Now, some people heard it as sorority girls don't have an Asian. Sorority girls don't have an agent. Sorority girls don't have an Asian agent. So every time an athlete does something stupid, I think to myself, as a person who memorized something and wrote something, I think to myself, Mushi. What was I going to write down? Oh, yeah. Who's getting better? Who's getting better here? The rich person or the richer person? Who's getting better? Both of us. But if we're being honest, I think I'm getting better because I'm learning from you. Your notes should go into something that you can sniff, because you were thinking about being a butt sniffer. We're doing 2 books, 1 dude. As per Johnny. Darn it, it's already pinned. Not understanding the law, not understanding beta mailing. You try to out alpha male as a beta male who's dropping in financial worth. I'm going to try to catch a falling beta male. I'm going to try to catch a dangerous thing, which is you're a falling knife. I am so good at kung fu, jujitsu, shiatsu, being the JBA, the Jedi in Business Administration, King of Jews, Jewish in Business Administration. This is going to be making money with no money. Let's go, Goim. Let's go. Oh, you're going to understand all this in a millisecond. What game are we going to play for me, $2 million? But for you, your version of $2 million is $1.20. Yeah, $1.10. Because I spend $2 million the way that you spend $1.10. I make $2 million like you make $1.10. Oh, that's kind of inaccurate, because you don't know about the collaboration that took down a giant from a small island using opium, dare I say, 1812. So we're doing 2 books, 1 guy. 2 books, 1 guy. You wanted to do 2 booklets, 1 guy. We could do that too. This is a riff. This is DJing off the API of 2 girls, 1 cup. What's 2 girls, 1 cup? Exactly. Good job. Good job. Good job. Someone's versed in history. I hope you can pay attention to Larry, get a pen. Get a pen out, you retard. Where's your map? you've taken no notes. You've taken no notes or not enough notes. No, you know what? I hate to be right. You've taken no notes. Is that creepy how I know? Okay. So, you guys are obviously smart enough. Can you be disciplined enough? Point number 2. Can you curate this genius stuff into something more? Who's watching and not liking? Who is doing that? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for thank you. Thank you for your lack of gratitude. Thank you. We are going to way more dirty bird than any bird or dirty. Knowing this protocol, which is 2 books, 1 guy, is guaranteed, this is financial advice coming, to give you an STD. It's guaranteed. Why? Because we're going to get so slooty that you're going to say, oh my God, my ears are going to need an STD check. Let's go. This is Christian comedy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. Two books, 1 guy. Two books, 1 guy, based on 2 girls, 1 cup. Based on 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge. Day 13. Julian, where are my 24 sentences? Where are my 24 sentences? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Stop saying screen recording. That doesn't help. First person to say audiobook loses. When was the last time you took a screen recording and then expanded on a prior? Your brain's broken, bro. Thank you for confirming 0 pages of notes. You're a money virgin as a 50-year-old. How are you a money virgin as a 50-year-old? Boomer. Yep. Anything over 30 is a boomer. Here's the other problem of 2 books, 1 dude. Here's the other problem, is that some of you guys are 19 years away from a 4-year degree in engineering. Did I say 19? I meant 26, if I'm being honest. This is how to get a 4-year engineering degree in, if we're being honest, 8 years. Because it used to take you projected 21 years to get a degree of a 4-year degree in engineering. Now, I know that there's lurkers who have a PhD in physics from Harvard that will pop in. Those people already know the fact that I'm not talking to them. But OMG, the messaging that I get, the only time I get text compliments is from a person that went to Harvard, Stanford. Those people listen silently using their real name. They're really subscribed, and they really text using their real phone number. This is the problem of my fellow Jewish compatriots. And people on YouTube, which is how many name changes are you going to do? How many usernames are you going to attribute yourself to before you just pick one nationality, pick one lane, pick one focus? Oh, but Larry, I heard you have 9 houses. Yeah, in fucking mostly America, right? In mostly America, because the dual citizenship, the dual sexuality, the dual, like it causes your brain to fracture. It causes you to splice. It causes your multiple identities to be having an internal civil war. Is this the most genius video you've ever heard? Because I literally explained everything about why certain ethnicities and certain people are certainly broken. Let's repair that with a game. It's called Two Books. Two Books, One Dude. Can you feel magic about to transfer? Can you feel magic about to transfer? Page 127, page 132. Page 127, page 132, which is constantly trying to take down the alpha male during an alpha person monologue, which is, I can see the wires and cables sticking out of your neck, which is trying to say that I'm a robot. Larry, what the hell is this posture? It's literally 180 degrees straight back. It's called being an athlete. It's having a sitting meditation as I'm flexing my six pack. Should I do videos shirtless? You dirty, dirty pansexuals. I'll be working with CAD programmer pretty soon. That'd be handy. Name them immediately. So, if you guys want 2 books, 1 guy as the game, put in the chat magic while I'm waiting for people to do the not emoji magic, because I'm not a teenage girl. I don't speak emoji. It's this. Why is page 132 and page 127 of Rollo Tomasi's book infinitely valuable for me to have to memorize those pages? Why? Because similar to posture of a yoga teacher, similar to posturing as a human who is in an active athletic position with all 10 toes dug into the ground, we're doing vagina whispering because people that have bad posture don't realize that good posture in a coffee shop, playing 2 books, 1 guy, makes vagina wet. What do women do when their vagina is pre-lubricated? Because remember, the vagina of lubrication does arrive moist, because rational male. So page 127, page 132 will happen to you. You're welcome. This is a magic trick within a magic trick within a magical video called Lazy Comedy that's explaining cognitive miser, that's explaining willful ignorance, number 6, power of the pen, number 3. Larry, go get a pen. Don't just screen record. That's not going to help you. We're going to gamify our YouTube history. We're doing game within a game while winning the game that has no defense. You're going to play 5D chess for your virgin time. Hot Girl Entrepreneurship Club, welcome to the magic at 120 at 120 at 90 at 90 91.30 break. So when you bring two books to the coffee shop at a 4-star Marriott Bonvoy, what you're doing is you're having, actually there's no beta males there. It's all rich people, because people who spend $500 and then not have heterosexual sex. But because what do poor people do when they spend $500 for a hotel room? They immediately have no time delay, can't do delayed gratification. They have to have sex. Even if it's with themselves, they need to have sex in that really nice hotel. Why are hotels going bankrupt? Because they'll scoff at people like me and say, ew, are you gonna have heterosexual sex in the room with the female that you brought? Ew. What? Have you heard the phrase, get a room? You sell rooms, you're a hotel. Thank you for telling me you're going bankrupt. Thank you for telling me you're going bankrupt. I don't want to. Stop saying, oh. You're not memorizing an email formula. Okay, you can memorize the email formula. What are you going to call it, your email formula? I don't even want to ask that. Oh, yeah. It's actually see it, do it, teach it is the three. That's the three categories. It's 3 sets of 8. See it, do it, teach it. Good job. Good job. Or see it, do it, document it. So, what did you see? 8 sentences for 2 books, 1 guy. Do it? Oh, I did 2 books. I'm a guy. Or a hot girl in Entrepreneurship Club. Larry, we did 3 books, 2 girls. Oh my God. You're fucking welcome, Hot Girl Entrepreneurship Club. You're fucking welcome. Larry, your posture's like a professional athlete who teaches yoga. What'd I say? 3 girls? No, 3 books, 2 girls. 3 books, 2 girls. Do you see how easy it is to make money? And every time I say money, stupid girls will be like, what, are you a pimp? Are we gonna do OnlyFans? No, we're doing 2 books. We're doing 2 girls, 1, what's the original game? 2 girls, 1 book. That's the original game. It's actually called Book Roulette. Larry, what would a beta male say? The only reason you get 3 ways is because you pay for it. What? You're getting ready to say that because page 127, page 132. See, what I'm doing is I'm play calling plays like I'm the best salesperson that I've ever met because I wanted to be the best salesperson that I ever met. That's why you think, oh, this guy's gonna sell me something because I'm the best salesperson in planet Earth. That doesn't make my engineering knowledge also not number 1. If those things offend you, that's you realizing for the first time that it would take me an hour and a half to get a 4-year engineering degree from Stanford University. That offends a lot of people. But if Steve Jurvetson can get a 4-year Stanford engineering degree in a year and a half or two, I can be honest, which is, why aren't Orville and Wilbur Wright honorary PhD holders posthumously, which I used to think is posthumously, which is after death? Why is it funny after death? Oh no, Larry, it's posthumously. Yeah? Well, you spell it posthumously after death. 127, 132. Ram Ranch rocks. Very. Larry doesn't gay for it. He gets paid for it. Oh, sorry. I read that incorrectly. I do this so well that I got drafted into running the Silicon Valley Gay Mafia. Why? Because I don't want to know. But I listened, and because I listened, I figured it all out. Which is 2 books, 1 guy. 3 books, 2 girls. Do you see? These are jokes. These are jokes. These are hilarious because this is right out of You're in a yoga class right now. 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 Are my yoga classes amazing? 2 books, 1 guy. Joke franchise, hashtag CHA69. You're fucking welcome, Neil, aka Adam. You're fucking welcome for the free trip to Omaha. Let's use AI to get a free vacation. Not talking about artificial intelligence. I'm talking about Asian intelligence. No fare using Grokfour, which I feel like a lot of you aren't even using. This is the free vacation. You're fucking welcome. Here's your free vacation. 3 books, 2 girls. Here's your free vacation. 2 books, 1 guy. Here it is. You get 2 books and you bring it to a low rent area that you live in, because you live in low rent. You live in low rent, but they don't charge you low rent. They charge you a shit ton. You're going to a coffee shop, ideally not with no white people. We're trying to sell this to rich white people. This is not racism. The nicest neighborhoods are mostly Caucasian, where 2 Chinese people will move into the neighborhood, and the Caucasian people will then say, Jesus Christ, thank you for moving here. Our property value is about to skyrocket. That is not financial advice, because you could have one Larry Chang move into your neighborhood, and our housing market is such a shit show that your value may only go up 4%. This is what we're doing. There you go. There you go. So drive your upside down equity vehicle towards a less squalor, less filth, and let's become amazing. Let's become amazing. How are we going to dress, Larry? We're going to wear khaki pants and a dress shirt. Why? Hashtag dress for success. Should that be another video? Fuck it. 2 guys, 1 book. two books, one guy show up in athletic shorts. Don't. I don't know if I want to give this to you. I'm thinking about holding out because I've only seen magic said one time, and I kind of want to just give it to 3 books, 2 girls, because they're going to be thankful for it. I kind of want to hold out. I kind of want to hold out. I kind of want to hold out. You got to comment magic or else your lack of discipline. Also, do you even have a pen? I kind of want to not do this. Here. I'll do it on mute and you can read my lips as I talk to Hot Girl Entrepreneurship Club because I know where I'm appreciated at. And also, how else do I pay for the belfies and the boob selfies, right? Oh, I know I'm on mute right now. I'm just waiting for 7 people to comment magic because I know where I'm appreciated, which is Hot Girl Entrepreneurship Club. Did I tell you I was batting 1,000? This is what we're doing. You're sending me $80. If you take 12 lines of notes, you get $82 back. Tell me I'm not the biggest tease in the YouTube live ecosystem. Tell me I'm not the biggest tease ever. Oh, yeah. See? Again, page 127, page 132, the rational male. The reason you live in filth and squalor, self-reportedly, is you actually feel like you deserve it. It might be because someone's butt hymen was penetrated in and around 23 years old, half-half. And I'm not saying be a pansexual neurodivergent. I'm not saying that. I am saying how hilarious is 3 books, 2 girls. Point number 5, you can buy it from Neil. This is what we're doing. We're, for the first time, learning what the Mark McCormack reverse rebate model is. Because we're taking 2 guys, 1 book, 2 books, 1 guy. That just went homo LGBTQ TT for a moment. But that's okay. You're talking to the leader of the Silicon Valley gay mafia. Let's no longer perpetuate abuse. 2 books. 2 books. For you, Johnny, it's The Rational Male. Just memorize 2 pages, which is beta male behavior. I just said cold open Yahtzee. I just said cold open Yahtzee. 9 people commenting magic. The mute button gets turned off. 2 books, 1 guy. 2 books, 1 guy. These are the results that you should expect because you stayed focused, which is this works every time, 95% of the time. If it does not work, I will buy you the 2 Dan Olson books if you document what you heard, what you tried, how it didn't work out. Because by documenting your failure, you're going to fail forward. And I'm not laughing at you for not even trying. I'm laughing at you for being as poor as you are, all of a sudden made rich, and now I'm going to watch you squirm as you don't say, "Thank you, Larry, you're the smartest person I've ever met." Parentheses, no, you can't blow me, in parentheses. Well, maybe, but probably not. So, why am I offering this as a guarantee? Because it works every time, every time. This is why. You already know what people are going to say when you have 2 books. Let's go over a real example of me doing this for a 500th time or 5 millionth time or 5th time, which is working every time. People are going to say shitty things to you. Look at this video. People have said crappy things to me. And what do I do with that? Do I just fold? Ladies, what does the vagina whisperer do when the vagina whisperer gets torn down? Vagina whisperer rises because we fail forward. Vagina whisperer says, "I forgive you, my retarded squalor inhabitor." Page 127, page 132. You see, our world is kind of poopy right now, and you may not think that this is the most hilarious thing you've ever watched. You may think, oh, he's just going to try to sleep with me because I'm entering a cult right now. Good news, okay, is that my moneymaker talks his way, when I'm using today's pronoun, he, talks his way out of vagina. So I'm definitely not going to talk my way into yesterday's pronoun, or was it Wednesday's pronoun, which is she, he, she. So I'm not selling pussy. I'm selling 2 books, 1 guy. People are going to say mean things to you. Here's an example. They're going to say, "Nerd, is that your book?" You talk so much with your Caucasian person confidence. With my Chinese level of confidence, I'm telling you, if you don't put pen to paper, we're all going to be in the winner's bracket. Even Johnny, last in the class, even he's going to be in the winner's bracket. You'll have not touched your virgin screen recording. Remember, vagina whisperer does not always mean pussy magnet. You just got it confused because she's confused. What are we not confused about? How awesome Dan Olson is. The reason I'm holding Dan Olson's book like I wrote it is because I feel like I'm an unofficial co-author of it in the way that you are the unofficial co-founder of this joke franchise. What's the name of this joke franchise, you ask? It would be using a magical little notebook where you draw a monster or draw a bumblebee or draw a starfish. The double starfish for 3 girls, 2 butthole starfishes, which is you're baiting people to be shitty to you, but it turns out the rich people, they're going to be nice to you. Do you understand my persona? Is I'm baiting the retarded people who are jerks to openly tell me, hey, I'm a jerk and I'm also retarded because I'm a retarded jerk. Simultaneously, I can say the same thing, and then people who are not retarded jerks, people who are genius and rich, say, hey, I wanted to come tell you that I'm genius and rich. Here's how to get that done. Welcome to my world of the University of Illinois. You see, rich people in Silicon Valley, they hear Stanford and they're like, Stanford. When they hear University of Illinois, they're like, fucking A, would you like a job offer? Why? Because the whole school is a complete circle jerk. What is not a circle jerk? 2 books, 1 you. This is what we're doing. We're going to a coffee shop and we're getting a green tea or a 6-pump venti mocha, or we are getting a soy latte, soy boy, and we're parking 2 books, playing the financial game with only upside called 2 books, 1 person. 2 books, 1 guy. So you talk continually like you're low socioeconomic, where you think 6 pumps is being a chump, but I didn't want to even be there. So if I could blow it on her with 3 pumps, that's me saying F you, literally, if I blow it on her after 4. Why? Because that is your joke, 6-pump chump. That's a luxury. You thought it was disrespectful. 2 books, 1 person. Your goal. What's my goal? Your goal is not to like hilarious content that's competent. Your goal is not to subscribe for future videos. Your goal is to hear 2 books, 1 person, and say, this is the first time I've ever financially benefited from reading 1 book. You read college textbooks, Princeton, you're unemployed. You read college textbooks, Stanford, how is the unemployment rate at double-digit %? You read books, Harvard. You didn't watch enough Larry Chang videos that transcribed into articles. This is the most valuable game you've ever played. On day 16, let's avoid bankruptcy. Day 16, play call, hashtag 26 days of Grokfour, ducking BK. Two books, 1 guy. Let's get $800. Let's get $800. So, trying to make $800 off of a $14 book, it's so easy because of this fundamental financial truth that's adherent to the 3 laws of thermodynamics. Why do I bring up 3 laws of thermodynamics? Because Dan Olson and I understand that it took Dan Olson 4 years to get an engineering degree in mechanical engineering related degree at Northwestern. It took Larry Chang 4 years to get an engineering degree because they don't let you play a sport unless you're enrolled in the college. Let's drag out my 1.5 year education into 4 years. Let's play call. Good job. Look everybody. It's Johnny going from beta male to alpha. It's Johnny going from way below Neil and Larry and Pumpkin to best in class. Look. And I know I'm showing off, but this is what people do. They either get better or they get really better. Why? Because I am the vagina whisperer. I'm whispering the pussy out of your beta male brain. You're fucking welcome. $800. You can't refute the $800. It is impossible to stop. Some people have said, can't stop, won't stop, Chang stop. Some people have said it. Why? Because it's true. You can't stop this. Why? Because I went ahead and wrote down chapters 1 through 14. Why did I write down chapters 1 through 14 while mushing chapter 9, which is step 4? Because at chapter 9, the shit hits the road. The rubber hits the road. Why? Because everybody's problem is they don't want to hear feedback about their product. Larry, can I tell you about my business plan? That would be a fuck no. Larry, can I mortgage $100,000 for 10% of my company? Are you paying me $100,000 to take 10% of your company? Because I don't even want that, let alone giving you $100K for 10% of your company. Johnny, have we met before? Because you seem like a plant now, as if I paid you to go from retard to multimillionaire. You're fucking welcome. You're fucking welcome. Do you have a hot sister? Don't answer that question. I already know that you do. You have a hot sister. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ugh. Ugh. I hate that I know that. Oh my God. Do you have 2 older sisters that are hot? It's creepy how I know this stuff. Is this not creepy how I know this? Don't answer that question. I don't want to know. I also don't want to know their names. Don't. No. Oh my God. That's what it is. Kappa Kappa Gamma is your second oldest sister. This is me. I'm the vagina whisperer. I can't help it. That was your turnaround, is you were standing next to women. You're standing next to women. Do you have 3 older sisters? Wait. It's got to be 2 older sisters and a dog. That's a girl. Oh yeah. It isn't a redemption arc. It's an acceleration arc. Load, explode. Oh, Larry, there's no way that you have posture like that. There's no way. Your back's at a 90-degree angle. I'm in an athletic position, okay? You never know, okay? Because when you're doing 2 books, 1 guy, you're about to get putty ramrodded. What's a putty ramrod? That's my labia is my penis. Let it roar, let it rip. Ripping towards $800, let's go. You don't want to know. You don't want to know. It's 2 older sisters. It's just chapter 9. You're fucking welcome. You're fucking welcome. You're fucking welcome. It's just chapter 9. Do you see how easy this is? Do you see how easy this is? So let's go over 7 scenarios for ripping 8 $100 bills. By the way, when I do this and my family watches me, they're like, why is that hot girl handing you money, as in that meme, which is, take my money, take my money. My parents blush when hot women say, take my money, take my money. They're like, do you have a cult? Why are they giving you money like that? Mom, Dad, first of all, I don't know if watching YouTube lives is the best way to simulate a conversation. But 2, why would I start a cult, which is the end goal is to fornicate the men and women in your cult, okay? Because 1, I don't want people living in a compound. 2, this gets vagina on its own. 2 books, 1 person. Scenario 2. Scenario 1 was, are you in a cult? Yeah, move along. Chapter 6, step 6, minimum viable product. Eric Ries, Lean Startup. Dan Olson's book, Spiders into 5 Books. These are $275,000. Put a pin in that, because we're just trying to get the 800. I've been crunching the numbers on my side hustle here. If I dial, I project I could reach my income about $20,000. See, your brain's broken. You have no notes. So you are solidly ranked way below Johnny. Literally as easy as 800 bucks. See, look. This is why the richest people in Silicon Valley are basically retarded, because they're like, hey, how do I get to be a billionaire? Well, after you get to 100 million or 200 million, you keep on trying to make money. How legit is my book game? Eric Ries, Lean Startup, have these collector edition books, Startup Lessons Learned, based on the blog posts. Hey, Larry, did you help Eric Ries get to New York Times bestseller status? Yup. 2 books, 1 you. Do you want to write a New York Times bestseller? You can. You're welcome. Which is first person to send me a $800 Let Us Entertain You gift card automatically can co-author or solo author a New York Times bestseller. If you are not a New York Times bestseller, you will get your gift card back unspent. Oh, is that time preference? Yes. Is that delayed gratification? Yes. Is that also Mark McCormack reverse rebate model? It is. Oh, I'm sure they have, and I'm sure that my parents are horrified. Good job. 26 days of Grokfour ducking BK. You see, we're solving a problem with this game that we're playing. What problem are we solving? We're solving the fact that some people think it takes money to make money. That person's name would be Neil. Some people think that when I say it doesn't take money to make money, then I'm saying credit or borrow money. I roll because chapter 9, you should be DJing an API. It doesn't take money to make money definitively means you don't need to mortgage your company or borrow credit to make money, because that means it takes shit money debt money to make money. That's usury. This is a JBA, a Jewish Business Administration. Who is more knowledgeable about Jewish stuff, Jewish people or Larry Chang? That would be Larry Chang. Larry Chang for King of the Jews. Larry Chang doing 2 Talmuds, 1 Larry Chang? Maybe. Which is 2 books, 1 Larry Chang. Ducking bankruptcy, avoiding bankruptcy, taking advantage of our current system right now, which is that the money's failing. Stop. Every time you talk, Larry, every time you talk, start small and reinvest. Fuck no, dude. It's not going there. It's Larry Chang is real. I am Larry Chang. No, every time you talk, Larry, silver spoof. Every time. Every time. 2 girl, 1 cup of knowledge. That was the original game. 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge. Let's say 2 girls come up to you as a 1 guy. This is what you're gonna do. Every time you talk, dude. Every time you talk. Every time you talk. Every time you talk, you're off the rails. This is why Johnny is... How many pages of notes have you taken, Johnny? Johnny's locked in, dude. He can't even touch the phone. Hey, after your timeout, come back focused to play the game. 2 books, 1 guy. Johnny's locked in. Good job, Johnny. So what we're doing is we're, for the first time, reading a book as if we're going to make $800. This is what we're doing. We're realizing that everybody who does product management, their whole problem is centered around step number 6, chapter number 9. Because intellectually, it's way more easy to never talk to users. From a business strategy standpoint, the employees don't want to hear feedback. When I did a Q&A video with Cowboy, I got great feedback. Ditto Neil. Who wants to join me on a call where I talk and show my face, and you talk and you show your face as we talk about 2 books, 1 dude? Not only can I fart, but I actually don't fart that much. But what I can do is I can drop a deuce in her place. And if we're sharing the same hotel room, that's an automatic where I don't drop a deuce in the lobby. I drop it in the bathroom before she gets ready. So if she's like, hey, I'm gonna be ready in like 45 minutes, that means 90 minutes. So that way I'll go downstairs and play 2 books, 1 guy, but then I'll drop off a food baby in the upstairs room bathroom. Good job! Half a page of notes. So your 1/2 page of notes via this 1 video. Again, question, who wants to join a live Q&A? Who wants to join a live Q&A? Thank you for telling me that you're default in default. Do you want to join a Q&A? Every time, Silver Spoof, every time you open your mouth, you're driving yourself towards bankruptcy. Every time. Every time. Every time. It's because you're always something new, always something new, always something new. Where, why don't you have questions about the game that we're playing? 2 books, 1 guy. So, this is how we succeed. This is scenario 3, how this plays out, what to expect, what to pay attention to, how things might turn out while you're playing 2 books, 1 guy. This is us. You're hopefully not going to forget step 6, chapter 9. But anytime people talk about product management, all the problems center around not talking to customers. In essence, in short, in summary, when you play 2 books, 1 you, is you're getting feedback as if you're the author of the book. Is this also reminding you of how Tim Ferriss went to a bookstore doing 2 books cover? 1 Tim Ferriss. Let me repeat that because it was so genius that you didn't write it down. This is how Tim Ferriss thought about books as my friend Tim Ferriss. Bringing 2 book covers to a Barnes & Noble and seeing people's reaction before he even wrote the book. Is this also Tim O'Reilly? It is, because Tim O'Reilly did the same thing with Sun Microsystems. Tim O'Reilly, they write computer programming books, they slap an animal on it, and they make the book sell for exorbitant amounts of money. Tim O'Reilly did it at Sun Microsystems launch party. Sun Microsystems did not have an operating manual. Tim O'Reilly launched a book empire by doing an hashtag external API. What we're doing right now is we're doing an external API. perfect Bristol 4. What's a Bristol 4? It's a perfect deuce. Is this deuce made of food? Bristol 4, that's the pattern. Being able to drop a perfect deuce in a single digit number of minutes helps us avoid bankruptcy. Why? We're headed towards ubiquitous bankruptcy because the money is dying. How are we going to make $800? Larry, I want to make more than $800. Slow your roll. You're a money virgin. You've never watched a YouTube video and made $6. You watch a YouTube video and you spend $60 because I watch how you watch videos. You watch a video accidentally on cooking, and then you see how the noodles get made and you're like, noodles. And then you spend $60 on DoorDash. That's your old YouTube practice. Your new YouTube practice is, oh, I didn't know Bristol 4. Oh, I didn't know about bankruptcy avoidance. By even saying the word bankruptcy, you make people scared. These videos cost zero. Their benefit is enormous. This is scenario 3. If you've missed the other 2 scenarios, that's not important. You'll get the gist of it right now. 2 books, 1 guy. Wait a minute. Does that sound like 2 girls, 1 cup of knowledge? Yes. What this was a joke from November 12. Today is November 16, aka day 16 of hashtag 26 days of Grokfour ducking BK. Yes, AI is a bubble. Yes, AI will probably go bankrupt, but it'll have an extinction burst that is ginormous. Why? Because the founders didn't read Chapter 9 and do Step 6. Are you paying $200 a month for OpenAI? No, you're not. Let's use 2 books, 1 you, to solve this problem. While you're selling a $12 book for $800, you're needing to understand this inherent truth, is that AI and Bitcoin and Web 12, Web 5, Web 4, software is eating the world. And this may be the first time that you've benefited from the most obvious statement in the history of statements that are obvious, which is your brain is getting eaten by software because your smartphone is killing your brain. So what you're now trying to diversify your brain into is, hey, this guy understands CBDC, this guy understands that. What I'm trying to get you to inherently understand is that it doesn't take money to make money. Your brain's broken, let's fix it by, this is the first time you've ever watched a video and financially benefited $800, which is when somebody asks you, hey, instead of reading that book, did you not know that you can use AI to get a summary of the book? Oh, are you trying to out-alpha me because you can't read? What you're doing is, it sounds confrontational, but if they fire the first fuck you via a cold open, you're allowed to fire back verbal self-defense. This is why nice girls don't get to the corner office, which is what we need to do as women with verbal self-defense. So when people try to page 127, page 132 us, we now have a ball on a tee. What is 127? What is 132? It's where people try to knock us down because we look bad, because it's 2 books, 1 person. We look bad. We look great to great people, but we look bad to some people. When we get aggressively cold opened, we take energy, negative energy, positive energy, and we turn it into monetary energy. How? Why? Because you're banking on the fact that they have not spent $200 at OpenAI to make $200 using AI. That's a Web 12 truth. And I'm not selling you on a $35,000 data center package powered by Grokfour. I'm not selling that to you. Do you even have $45,000? Have you even realized that most females will not make $100,000 total before they turn 30? I know. This is what you're solving with 2 books. One person is this one book should make you 100K because it took Dan Olson 10 years to write. This book is genius. So what you're asking people is, if I sold you this book for $800, could you make $800 of value? Because if the answer is no, or if the answer is, hey, Larry, well, folks, enjoy the schizoid rant. I'm out. Good luck, Larry. See, that's you going, I can't believe Johnny is surpassing me, where you're thinking that this is a schizoid rant when it's actually not even 1,000 points of light. This is actually 650 hashtags for money. You got 8 of them, but you didn't think I was giving you 600 versions of fuck you money, because you just told me to, well, folks, enjoy the schizoid rant. I'm out. Good luck, Larry. So what that is a transferal of what you understand best, which is every time you talk, you're saying something new, whereas every time I talk, I'm quoting a mentor, Mark McCormack, quoting a mentor, Dan Olson, quoting another mentor, hat tip, Kobe Bryant. Good artists create, great artists steal. This is the artistry of doing stand-up comedy called lazy humor, tricking you into learning about being a cognitive miser. Exiting the room is Larry Silverspoof. Well, folks, enjoy the schizoid rant. I took no pages of notes. I'm out. Good luck, Larry. Thumbs up. That is Cognitive Miser number 12, no journal. That is Cognitive Miser number 13. Your YouTube history is 80% Larry Chang. Cognitive Miser number 8, thankfulness. There was thankfulness. Cognitive Miser, willful ignorance. You're checking all the boxes. Do you see how Cognitive Miser in and of itself is also $800, because Larry's putting it on a tee for you. Larry Chang is putting it on a tee for you. Larry Silverspoof is putting it on a tee for you, because he's feeling number 4, momentum flow, and he's trying to throw away momentum while killing my flow, not knowing it's page 132. You're a beta male trying to take down an alpha using a four-handed compliment, which is good luck, Larry. That's a forward compliment. That's forward, because you're cheering for me, but with a major asterisk. That's number 7. What am I reading the 14 points on? Is Cognitive Miser within day 15. Sorry, I'm not sorry. It's day 15 plus 1. Day 16. Hashtag 26 days of Grokfour ducking BK. Avoid bankruptcy by no longer being Cognitive Miser, calling out problems, solving problems. I'm not going to ask Larry Silverspoof, hey, would you like to pay me $800,000 to solve your problem? If you don't make $900,000, you can keep the $800,000 in escrow. No. Why? Because I'd rather just tell you that I have 650 hashtags for money I don't want you to come back. I don't care if you're subscribed. I want you to study your screen recorded video because this will be the first time you've ever expanded on a prior. This will be the first time. Miser, number 9. And 10, cognitive brain repair. You literally check all the boxes. And do you see how 2 books, 1 person? Do you see how amazing page 127 and page 132 are? So ditto chapter 9, because Rational Male, Rollo Tomasi, 2 books, 1 guy. So Rollo Tomasi has this lesion called the manosphere, and it's about men who are understanding topics of female behavior, such as hypergamy, such as more hypergamy, such as red pill truths that are forcing you to be black pill, such as indignation. Every female problem is actually explained within a Rollo Tomasi blog post. So, who knows Rollo Tomasi content better, Rollo Tomasi or Larry Chang? And I know this sounds egregious, and I know that sounds accurate, but this occurred before AI. Is, can you read a book and extrapolate where the book's going? Do you see why this book is worth $800? Because this book has an inevitable conclusion, which is, what is the sequel to that book? When you know the prequel, you know the sequel, these things are not hiding behind a paywall. I will not charge you to explore the bibliography. I will walk you through chapter 15 of Dan Olson's book, which is hashtag CS183D, hashtag CS183E. Why? Because we don't want to product manage our own product. Let me repeat that. We want to just edit somebody else's thing. That's what we're doing with 2 books, 1 guy, is we're doing the lead off hashtag, the first thing that was said 154 minutes ago, which is editing, hashtag CS183 edit. You see, Dan Olson has a undergrad engineering degree with a MBA. Am I saying that you're going to need an MBA and an engineering degree in order to get $800? No, I'm saying 2 books, 1 person. Would you like to benefit $800 or more? You see, what you're selling for $800 is you're selling a $20,000 or a $200,000 revenue for less than $1,000. How much less than $1,000? That would be $200 less than $1,000, which is $800. Am I talking to you like you're retarded? No, I'm talking to you in a way that this will be the first time that you understand why rich people got rich. This is their first deal. This is every rich person's first deal, is some crappy little deal where you're like, that's it? That's it? That was the first deal? Let me go over the math real quick, because you may not believe in the math, which is why last year you read 1.0 book, which is less than 1.0 book, but I'm rounding up, which is this. You never read a book and then asked yourself, hey, can I make $800? That's what step one is you're doing an external API to the Dan Olson book by being VP of sales for Dan Olson. What's a VP of sales? And is he going to pay you? He's not going to pay you six figures to sell his book. He's on to the next book. What you're doing is you're saying, hey, this guy Larry Chang, he thinks that I can make more money with Dan Olson's book than Dan Olson will. Think about what I'm saying, because you may not be able to make more money than Dan Olson, but now do you see how you can at least make $800 because it took him 10 years? And it's a good book, so he didn't waste 10 years writing the book. It's a really good book. And then you get to just leverage and compress his 10 years into pretty much just one chapter because you haven't read 10 pages in November. What 10 pages are you planning on reading from? Chapter 9. Let's say you want to do this again, because this works for books that I mentioned, which is maybe you're asking yourself not good questions right now, which is there a catch? That's because you're a business virgin and you've never done a deal. Where do I go to learn more about this? You don't go anywhere to learn more about this. You go to the coffee shop to try to do this, which is 2 books, 1 you. What you're doing is you're turning around You Incorporated with a book that you bought secondhand. Because I can do this with the books that she has on her bookshelf. Because I need to know what you read in the same way that Good Will Hunting walked into psychiatrist offices and he pretty much knew how they were going to diagnose him because he read the books that they read, because he wanted to know what was going to be shrinking his brain. That's the topic for Matt Damon's movie, Good Will Hunting, where he would go into offices for therapy and he would scan all the books and read the books and extrapolate how using those books would be diagnosing his malady. So when you said schizo, you're not understanding that this is one brain, but 270 years old in wisdom, which is what happens when you read 2 books a year, 2 books every other month, 2 books a month, 2 books a week, 2 books a day. True story, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Larry Chang, reading 3 books per day while presidenting the United States. Me, I don't want that job, because in order for my ideas to work, I'm going to have to knock off 40% of the population. That's a inside joke that's not on the inside. It's everywhere. Utopia. Your phone's not so smart. It's really just breaking your brain, which is a country song front-running a June 18, 2026 launch. Who's excited about Grand Theft Auto 6? Never coming out November 2026. Toy Story 5 coming out June 18, 2026. Larry, I want to go to that movie premiere. Cool. 2 books, 1 guy DJing the Dan Olson book, 2 movie tickets to Toy Story 5. Why? You're going to be selling for $8,000 a book club membership. This book club is very special. It's got 3 people in it. Dan Olson, the author, not the human, he'll be joining the book club via the book. Maybe he'll be joining via email. You and Larry Chang and the person paying. Why are they willing to pay that much money to be in a book club? Because if they don't benefit that much financially, they don't pay $8 million. Let me repeat the math on that. Let's help you understand. If you knew what you were doing, you would be providing a positive monetary value. If you knew what you're doing, you would have a book net that value. So let's make it super simple and let's just do $800. Because if you can't do $800, you forgot step 6, chapter 9. That's all $800, which is, why are the founders of your company not talking to users? Let's hand out food and let's arbitrage. Let's trade a half a cookie for your honest opinion about Dan Olson's book. Let's trade a cookie for your feedback. That's chapter 9 all day long, which is the people at the company, their email address is fuckyou@startup.com. You might know of it as help@startup.com. When the CEO doesn't want to be bothered by customers, that company's going to go bankrupt. That's why Duck 9 has the CEO's phone number right fucking there. And then people be like, fuck you, that's not your real number. And then the way I answer the phone is, what the fuck do you want? And then they'll be like, oh, I didn't know I'd get Larry. I'm like, I'm just giving you a hard time. How can I help you? Whereas before, for a long time, I would answer the phone, hi, this is Larry. And then they're like, yeah, I want to talk to Larry Chang. I'm like, this is Larry. They're like, this isn't Larry. This is an answering service. I'm like, and then we'd spend 5 minutes and they'd be like, oh, this really is Larry. And then he'd say, can I ask you a question? We've been talking for 5 minutes. All this time's wasted. And now you're going to ask if you can ask a question? Sure. I was just wondering if it's really free and what the catch is for self-directed FICO score augmentation. Yeah, it's free. Well, why? You know what? This phone call has not been very valuable. Companies go bankrupt when the Harvard, Stanford founders got into YC, and they'll tell people, just sign up for our product. Our founders went to Stanford, Harvard. We got selected by Y Combinator. And people are like, what the fuck is a Combinator? What? Why do I care? Like, that's literally their sales pitch, which is, hey, I've got Posterous, Postly, Posthaven. We're YC funded. You want to sign up? And people are like, no. What's YC? Oh, it's the most valuable experience that you'll ever have. That's the most valuable. Like, that's the most valuable experience. How does that benefit me? That's the most valuable thing it's the most interesting thing you'll ever do. Like, that's YC. Why do I care? And oh my God, did you go to Stanford? Yeah, I went to Stanford. Cool. That means you have the attention span of a gnat. We never do business with Stanford. Our founders went to Cal. You see, what we're doing here is we are wrangling a irrefutable truth, which is poor people they can't buy a $20 bill for $6. Have you seen EBT people try to sell you $40 in EBT for $16 cash? Like, they have a hard time doing that. And I'm not questioning that they're committing fraud, because that would be racist. But what I am saying is rich people are very willing to buy a $3,000 bill for 80 bucks. This is what we're talking about. For 800 bucks, we're selling, or 80 bucks if you suck at selling, which we can do. You're signing people up for a book club. Who's in this book club? That would be you, the person who's paying, and Larry Chang. Why am I willing to be in your email book club? I'm willing to be in your email book club because I know that I'll be the only one who actually only read the book. This is strategic default. This is me taking over the 12 days of OpenAI because I'm the only person who remembered that that was a distribution hack. That was the first thing that was said, which is still pinned, which is CS183D, which is distribution. E is basically distributing somebody else's D. E for edit, D for distribution. So what you're selling is something valuable, which is being in a book club. And the conclusion of this book club is the conclusion that you already gave them, which is, hey, does your company talk to users? Does your company talk to prospects? And they're like, yeah, we want to do everything but that. And you're like, cool, I hear you. But how's your company going to grow in revenue? And then they're going to say, strategy, theory, strategy. And you'll be like, cool. Can you hire 2 interns and we can, with the 2 interns, talk to customers? And then now you understand why I'm the solo founder of the Uber API, which is me and 2 CS majors duct taping the Uber API by giving Uber an API, which is talk to customers and let customers call you. That's the Uber API, is you give customers a place to call. Hey, do you have questions about how to call an Uber? Well, call Larry Chang, Uber user, 415-720-8500. That's editing somebody else's thing. That's what I do for money. I turn things around. What do most people who do turnarounds do? Stram GT 353, search fund, which is raising money to buy a company for 140 mil to 160 mil. You raise a fund for 160 to 180, and then you use 20 mil as operating capital. That's doing a turnaround. Most people that are octogenarians like me will do one turnaround every other year. Me, I'm turning around 19 things per day, because I asked myself, what if Irv Grausbeck had a computer science degree? It wouldn't be one turnaround every other year the way that he turned around the Boston Celtics. Irv Grausbeck. Turnarounds. I'm doing 17 per hour. I'm doing 17 per hour using computer science and playing games and doing 2 books, 1 guy. So the game that we're playing is turning around somebody, but we don't call it that. We just call it product management, which is, can you talk to users? will users be rude to you? For example, you're schizo. For example, something rude. For example, something else rude. So, not that I have the highest EQ on the planet, I just seemingly have the highest IQ on the planet because I use my EQ to drag up my IQ. This is why it seems like I'm playing 5D, 6D, 7D, or even 9D chess, because I heard that people like to play 4D chess. You can have an ELO score of 6 against an ELO score of 6,900. You're still playing 4D chess, which is 3D chess plus time. That's the fourth dimension. So when you say shit talk like that guy's playing 4D chess, you don't understand the dimensional difference between 3D to 5D, which brings in the joke of, do you know the difference between Web 3, Web 5, Web 4, and Web 12? Because that also DJs to Dan Olson's book, which is you're basically doing Web 12 with Dan Olson's book, which is why I'm willing to enter your dumb book club, because you think I have limitless time. And me, I am very efficient with the 38 hours that I get per day. I took a deuce in a single digit number of minutes in less time than it takes for some people to drain their bladder. Why? Because 38 hours per day is chapter 11, time, space, space, time. You thought I was lying about having more than 24 hours per day. You didn't read chapter 11. So what you're doing with 2 books, 1 person, is it's like you're going to a Super Bowl party with Joe Dispenza's book. The reason that Becoming Supernatural is the book to use for cold open Yahtzee is this. You are 2 Joe Dispenza books, 1 Larry Chang. These are the results. They work every time. Women will throw vagina, and if you're heterosexual and that offends you, what it knowledge activates is not knowledge collection. It's activating knowledge of vagina getting thrown, becoming supernatural. Why? Because women see Joe Dispenza and they correlate Joe Dispenza with $9,000 sexy workshop with rich dudes. They see Joe Dispenza and they think $9,000 Cabo. They see $9,000 or Joe Dispenza and they see St. Regis Punta Minta. Whether they see Joe Dispenza and they see, oh my God, it's a $9,000 workshop with housing that also costs $9,000. They see Joe Dispenza and they see, oh my God, I can go to this cool workshop, do some cool meditation stuff, surrounded by rich dudes. So when you have the book, Joe Dispenza, Yahtzee is by default. Why? Because people can't even come up with negative stuff to say. They can't even come up with negative stuff to say. The worst thing they say will be condescending, which still helps you ascend, which is, I read that book. You're really going to enjoy it. That's Joe Dispenza becoming supernatural. Hey, Larry, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is I'm not the kind of guy to promote Joe Dispenza. I'm not. I'm not new age. I'm not fruity. I think that Northern California has more fruits than fruitcakes in a fruit dispensary. Like, it's just so fruity. But why did I now master Joe Dispenza's book? and read his books and understand his books better than Joe Dispenza does. I hate having to say this, but this is why. There's this blonde with really nice boobs that told me out of the blue, she said, "You have really good heart-brain coherence." Like, you're the dick whisperer because I remember what you said. Let's call her Victoria because that was her name. She goes, "Your heart-brain coherence, it's amazing." Me? It's not even 10 o'clock. The party goes from 9, which really means 9:45, to 1. It's not even 10 o'clock. And now I gotta leave the party with you to go bang you? I don't know what to do. Larry, it looks like you have really good heart-brain coherence. What's heart-brain coherence? I'm not going to quote book, chapter, verse within Joe Dispenza. I will give you the idea behind using AI. You see, I could have what could I have done? I could have just got confused about Web 2 and Web 12. But what I'm honing in here with the Victoria mention, because that hot blonde with really nice boobs is my mentor. That's how I'm using AI, is I'm then asking, hey, what books did you get this out of? How can I be smarter? Which obviously was seducing somebody who is already in the buyer's bracket, but we're not trying to distribute my D more. We're trying to get better at 2 books, 1 person. Because prior to using AI, we need to fix our brain, because you haven't used AI, and it's because your brain's broken. And so number 11, cognitive miser, optimum brain function. Number 10, cognitive brain repair. I'm not saying don't use AI. I'm saying use AI and use a book and collect money on it. Because you can see how I'm wrangling you towards shipping 1 email, because you still haven't sent 1 email, yet you've said 80 sentences if I were to compile the comments. The benefit here is 2 books, 1 guy. Let's collect the money because no one's asked about it. You should be asking about it. This is how to collect the money. You want to show that you have cognitively repaired your own brain. You want to show that you have optimum brain function. Once you show those 2 things, the $800 will literally be thrown onto you. Why? Because everyone realizes that their brain is currently broken, and nobody's ever asked them for $800. What? Asshole. I could buy that book for 20 bucks. This is how to ask for money. Ask for 800 bucks. Hey, jerkface, I could buy that book on Amazon for 20 bucks. You could, and I recommend that you do. because this is the counterintuitive thing to ripping $10 million on this James Nestor book. Yeah. Which is, I want you to do this without me. James Nestor, breathe. Problem, you're a billionaire, you've got inflammation, your clock is ticking. Not that you've got a half a foot in the grave, but you have inflammation. You have a CPAP machine. You have a fat throat. You have sleep apnea. So what you're doing is you're constantly hunting for that X, that value. Why do I get to Vagina Whisperer? Because your phone's not so smart. It's really just breaking your brain. I know this. That's why today's lazy humor is actually pretty hardworking. Cognitive miser, point number 10 and 11. By hunting the problem, sleep apnea, breathing, page 43, you're calling the play to fix their problem. If you can't show them $800 before they separate, they'll never give you the $800. Let me repeat that. In order to, and this is not me asking you guys for money, but when you ask someone else for money, if they can't pay you $800 after they make $801 just from this, they need to fuck off, and you need to get better at journaling number 12, cognitive miser. Because one, I'm showing you that I've cognitively been repairing my brain. Why? Because someone laughed at my notebook. Oh, Larry, if you sniff your notebook, they're gonna insane asylum you. That's the last struggle. It's like when a girl's taking off her panties and then saying, I normally don't do this. Or when I say, hey, thank you for taking off all your clothes. Do you mind if we talk a little bit more because it's only fucking 10 o'clock? And then she'll immediately say what I'm ready for, which is, oh my God, I didn't know. You're gay? And then I would pull this piece of paper out of my pocket where it says, the first person to say audiobook loses. Which is, I already know because it's listener train of thought. I already know because it's Asian intelligence. I already know because my mentor, Larry Chang, he told me, hey, when you say no to a girl and her vajayjay's moist and she's throwing her wet underwear at you, and if you temporarily say no, right to homo allegations where you show her 3/4 chub while you redirect your penis energy into listening to Hal Elrod, which is what I did at 10:14 p.m. Who's Hal Elrod? He was at the Christmas party run by this genius guy who decided to quiet everybody down at a Christmas party. I am rocking a 3/4 chub. Her hair, so blonde. Her boobs, so nice. She's talking about heart-brain coherence, shit that I didn't understand, and then she's talking about her PhD candidacy. I am ready, but I also realize that my penis at 3/4 chub, it's just a third brain. Brain 1, my brain. Brain 2, my stomach. Brain 3, my swollen stormtrooper, my one-headed, my one-eyed clown, and then my ass, fourth brain. So all these brain energies were now directed towards the speaker who happened to be Hal Elrod, who happened to be the keynote speaker to Biohacking by Dave Asprey. Different David. David Gonzalez ran the Amazon Christmas party. Redirecting that energy, saying, oh, you're accusing me of being homo? Cool story, brah. Let's go listen to the keynote speaker. By redirecting energy, we're showing that we're doing cognitive brain repair. By doing optimum brain function, we're realizing that we're all coming to this video with a slightly broken brain. That's why this is lazy humor. It's humorous, but we're not lazy, we're just being strategic. That's point number one. So what we're doing with 2 books, 1 guy, is showing a tidal wave of value, at least at $1,000. Will you now pay me $800 for the $1,000 in value? Where's that value coming from? Have you ever thought about giving away burritos for policy conversations? Is that Barack Obama parlaying burritos in Chicago for voter registration and brand awareness? Is this food for lead gen? Is this why I got to co-found a franchise with Barack Obama? Change 1 letter, make it great. Is that a fucking joke? South by Southwest, which is hashtag 23 days of OpenAI at SXSW, changing 1 letter and making it amazing, which is South by South Larry. Okay, it was South by South Lawn, but SXSL. And then before you say, oh my God, that's so fraudulent, you can look up the fact that 1600 Pennsylvania was South by South Lawn. And can't stop, won't stop, Chang stop is the photographer for Reverse VC. Have you heard of Reverse Sugar Daddy? That was March 15, 2025. Hashtag 23 days of OpenAI at SXSW. Why did I do Reverse Sugar Daddy? Because it's always 2 books, 1 me. I buy multiple copies because jerks borrow my book, and then jerks never read the book, and then jerks don't give me back my book. And now I'm trying to figure out if I left it in which house. I don't remember which book has which house. I guess I'll just buy 2 more books for the next house or this house, or I get confused which books are in which houses. Too many houses, not enough people returning books. South by South Lawn, Reverse VC. Photographer Mona Brooks. She's in very few pictures, maybe 5. She took the pictures for SWIB, Stanford Women in Business. Who's Mona Brooks? She's the official photographer for Barack Obama. Mona Brooks. She took pictures for Reverse VC, then was introduced to Barack Obama. Then Barack Obama hired her to do pictures. She took pictures for South by South Lawn. Where was South by South Lawn initially? It was at this place called The Lawn, I want to say 98 San Jacinto. Oh, does that connect to day 20 and day 21, which is hashtag 26 days of Grokfour ducking BK. Here's a franchise for you that accidentally pooped out like a perfect Bristol 4. Hashtag 26 days of Duck 9 ducking bankruptcy. You're welcome. If you don't make $1 million from that, that's your fault, because I, Larry Chang, anoint you the distributor and editor, and dare I say curator number 14, hashtag 26 days of Duck 9 ducking BK, which is day 15. It starts on day 15 because there are no day 14. Don't start day 1 on day 16, which is November 16th. Day 20 is hashtag 26 days of Duck 9 ducking BK at Jay Westbrook's bankruptcy conference. If you don't make $998 before Jay Westbrook's 45th annual bankruptcy conference at 98 San Juan Quinto with Harvard Law alumni, have I ever introduced you to my friend Barack Obama, co-founder SXSL. You see, I made a joke. I like jokes. And then he was like, yeah, I guess I'm doing South by South Larry or Lawn. I guess I'm doing South by South Lawn. I go to the place that he's sleeping plus or minus 500 yards with a lawn. Therefore, if he goes to the lawn, his likelihood of making this joke, which he said on stage, a reality, now you need to go from talking shit to doing shit. So the doing shit is, can you show up somewhere for 5 minutes? And as president, that's actually not that easy. He shows up, and the next 2 years, so not only does he show up, he also hosts. Let me repeat that. President Barack Obama, if you're not from America, he is president number 44. And if you know area codes and some basic shit, you can actually guess what his phone number is. So he hosted it for 2 years at 1600 Pennsylvania, South by South Lawn. That's why I really like joke franchises, because it helps me stay mentally healthy. Number 10, cognitive brain repair via joking, via hearing people say kind of hurtful, negative things. Some of the things that you guys have been saying in the chat, it's kind of been hurtful, such as, well, folks, enjoy the schizoid rant, comma, I'm out, comma, good luck, Larry. Ooh, ouch. Hurtful. Optimum brain function, number 11. I bless you and your co-Jewishness. We are now Jewish brethren. Maybe you should anoint Larry Chang, King of the Jews, and say, Jesus Christ, come save me like you saved Larry Chang. I just solved peace in the Middle East. Can't stop, won't stop, Chang stop. Lord, I'm thankful for Larry Chang's brain. Amen. Compliments. Few, but also too many. Compliments cause me to not energize. True story. True story. Unless you're Victoria with really blonde, nice hair and really amazing body, in which case compliments need to keep on coming. Two books, one you. If you're in the coffee shop and you buy 7 pastries and you bring 40 toothpicks, you might make $600K if you're doing this in Silicon Valley, because I might have made $600 million doing this. What am I talking about? You see, 4 steps to the epiphany. I'm not going to say that's the Bible of Silicon Valley, because that would mean that people read. That would mean that people read. What it is a framework of customer development. it's the mentality of no business plan survives first customer contact. You see, it's a paperback book that was 65 bucks, published by Cafe Press, published by Steve Blank. So, I'm at a douchey of douchiest parties. It's a $2,000 fundraiser at a baseball stadium. San Francisco Giants hosting their annual, not shareholders, not annual season ticket holders, but annual benefit. So I got 2 tickets. I don't know how I got 2 tickets. Maybe because they knew I'd be a good guest. Maybe because they knew I'd tip half the comp. Maybe they thought that if we invite this guy, he'll get drunk on 0.4 beer, because I swear he's always drunk. Nope, never drunk. I just talk like this all the time. So I'm at this party and I have a date. Let's call her Jessica, because that was her name. So I'm with Jessica. Why? Because she's older than 22. What's my age range? Younger than 23. So I'm with Jessica, and what does she decide to do within not even an hour? She's talking to some other dude, granted not as tall, because he was like short. He was like 6'3", 6'4". He was not as good looking because, but still pretty good looking. Starts talking to this guy, and I was like, okay, whatever. So it's time to kind of mingle, because the party is over 3 different floors, including field level. But she's still talking to this guy. So then I didn't know what to do, because we came together. I was getting upset. She was testing me. What would you do? The only thing I could do, which is be playing 5D chess, 7D chess, 8D chess as the vagina whisperer, full guns, let's go. So I asked him, because I barely got introduced to him, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm glad that you're with a really nice watch, with a really nice job. How did I know that he had a really nice watch? Because he would touch himself like this. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you're from LA, but I didn't quite say it that way, but I thought it. And he would talk about how great he was, kind of like this video. Then I asked him, not doing page 132, not doing page 127. I asked him, you sound amazing, you sound great. And I'm convinced, not being sarcastic. Will you tell me 1 or 2 of the books that you used to make such a significant impact? So when you ask unsuccessful people that question, they don't have an answer, because they'll say what they think should be an answer, which is, oh, I was just born great. I was just born great. I just did great. That's what people who are lying say. He wasn't lying, because he said, oh, that's easy. I just follow this book called 4 Steps to the Epiphany. We just raised 9 figures. And I was like, the person who is not lying knows how they became successful, because they can see it, do it, teach it. So I was like, what did you say? He goes, 4 Steps to the Epiphany. I go, not beta mailing him, because I'm alpha of alphas. I go, who wrote that book? Without blinking, he goes, Steve Blank. I'm like, this guy does what I do to books, which is he might have read that book 2.0x. He might have read that book 2.0x. Probably did. will you hold on a second? Jessica, you too. I'll be right back. I get on my phone, and my phone's got internet. Does your phone have internet? It does not. Does your phone have knowledge? It does not. My phone has internet. My phone has knowledge. My knowledge is going to get even greater because I'm going to go buy that book. What book am I buying? 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 Say it. Say it. Say his name. Say it. I want you to say it. Say it. I'm now better at this party that is an incredibly expensive fundraiser while losing my date. What would you then do? What would you then do? She's spent too much time talking to tall, kind of gorgeous dude who's almost as good looking as me, almost as tall as me, and almost as successful as me with 9 figures of venture capital. Granted, I understand that you don't understand the difference between venture capital, which is a fucking mortgage. Your VC firm gave you money, which is a mortgage with a license to fire you at any time. I know that you don't know the difference between venture capital and revenue because it turns out Silicon Valley doesn't know the difference between money fucking in and money fucking out. They don't. Can't figure it out. IQ 88 had to show up and tell them what money out is and what money in is. Nope. So I come back, they're still talking. What do? Do you just leave the party? Nope. Remember, you're Larry Chang. You've got some moves. You're the vagina whisperer. And Jessica is attached to the hip, seeing me sweat. You see, just like for females that are 37 to 40, or I'm sorry, 27 to 31, the shot clock is ticking. You're starting to panic. When I'm supposed to panic, I start playing 5D chess, which is everybody has been watching what's going on. You see, in a room, you can't not see me. Not because I'm wearing a hat, but because I'm 6'5". Everybody sees what's going on, which is Jessica happened to be Asian. And so normally I don't date Asian women because of what's going on right now with Jessica. But everybody thinks that we're a couple and that I'm losing my Asian girlfriend. I'm not going to say what kind of Asian she was because that's incriminating. To a Caucasian guy, people are enthralled. People have never seen entertainment like this. And now I'm understanding why I got invited to this party. So, what would you do? You're in difficulty. Your date is about to get ripped from LA. Remember, the Giants play in San Francisco. So when LA blows in, you got to understand that in Silicon Valley, the dumbest people in Silicon Valley are from New York and LA. They're just the dumbest. That's the lowest bar, are retards from New York and retards from LA. So I'm losing my date to a retard who thinks that venture capital is revenue. I'm currently losing my date. What would you do? You're playing catch up. You're playing catch up. It's the second inning and your team is losing by 2 touchdowns. I've already come back twice. She's still there. What would you do? What would you do? Remember, you've already won because LA boy who itches his head like this to show the watch, he's already helped you with a book recommendation letting you know you can't out alpha male him. He's letting you know that. Therefore, page 132, therefore, page 127. This is what I did. I walked over to the hottest blonde girl with the biggest boobs, and I said, hey, I wanted to come over and say hi. How are you? Well, hello. We've been watching what's going on here. Pretty interesting, right? Pretty interesting. Cold open Yahtzee does not even come close. Cold open Yahtzee does not even come close to my cold open. Yeah? What do you think about what's going on? It's just really entertaining. Hey, I'm glad you're having a good time. Would you like to make out with me? So that way we'll be making out? What? And I said it loud enough for other people to hear. Why? Because everyone already sees what's going on. You might as well hear what we're doing. Would you like to make out with me right now? She's like, what? This other girl who is hotter than her goes, I will. I walk over, I make out with her. And then she goes, hey, I changed my mind. I'm like, oh no, too late. Meanwhile, stud boy from LA, who later I attended a party with my cousin Lillian Chang, she met her husband there. If LA boy doesn't get run on, I don't have 3 terrific nieces and nephews. She goes, hey, I changed my mind. I'm like, you changed your mind about what? I'm gonna say yes now. I'm like, it's too late. And then she was like, please, this game seems so fun. So I'm like, okay, I guess. Then guess who comes over and pulls me off of the 2 hot blondes? Jessica. As she's pulling me off, I'm not getting pulled off. So she's pulling me off. She's going, don't stop. Don't stop. It was a pop-up 4-way. Why? Because you gave me no option. You know that, one, I don't even like Asian girls. I don't. I do. It's starting to grow on me. Now, that's not the end. And that's also not even the point. That's the humor, but the don't stop thing with the pulling my waist, it looked like she had a strap on and it looked like it was a 4-way. The entire room was so entertained, but that's also not the story. That's also not the point. The point here is Web 12, when Web 3 was barely inked, which is, guess whose dinner I was at on Thursday? That party was on Friday. Steve Blank's dinner, hosted by Dave McClure. Why? It's us taking a book and reading the book and saying, I want to try to make $800. Because when that book arrived, I paid dearly for that. I might have gotten a mouth STD from those 2 hot blondes and the other 2 girls and Jessica, okay? I mean, I paid for that book. Plus it was $65 for a freaking paperback. On Monday, a piece of social media Dave McClure saying that tickets were on sale and that tickets already sold out. To what? Steve Blank speaking at 5:30 Cowper. Why do addresses matter? Because it was specific, and this is what happened. This is how to make another $800 on 2 books, 1 guy, which is here. The dinner was sold out. What would you do? Would you just wait to not go and then put yourself on the wait list, right? So the dinner started at 6. I showed up at 5:30 with exact change. I think the dinner was like $75. So I brought exact change, and I didn't bring 4 $20 bills. I almost have 4 $80 bills. I brought 3 $20 bills and 3 $5 bills. Why? Because I figured a bunch of people would just show up with a $100 bill because it's Silicon Valley, or say something worse, which is I'll Venmo you later, or say something worse, which is I'll Larry Chang, Dave McClure, Luke Nosek, PayPal you later, right? Turning around PayPal, Larry Chang. So I showed up with exact change well ahead. This is cognitive miser, brain repair, show up at your next event 30 minutes early. Why? Because right now with everybody in brain repair, they have this thing called time blindness, and everyone's showing up 15 minutes late, if they're even showing up at all. By showing up early with a Sharpie and pen, I saw what appeared to be a Stanford professor, Steve Blank. Hey, he didn't have his picture on the covers of his book the way that Mark McCormick did. Hey, are you Professor Blank? He goes, yeah, are you one of my students? I'm like, oh my God, do all 6'5" athletes look the same? Or do I look that much like Tim Chang, John Teo, that you think I'm John Teo or Tim Chang? I am Larry Chang. I am not one of your students, but I did read your book. Do you mind signing it? He's like, sure. I don't have a Sharpie. I had a Sharpie. Who came to win? Me did, because I just flanked LA boy who raised 9 figures in venture capital while exposing myself to a litany of mouth diseases, including that one disease that's in the mouth that I don't have. What's that called? Herpes? I risked herpes. I risked herpes to get this book recommendation. I risked. There's risk. Do you understand risk? He opens the first page, too many notes. He opens the second page, too many notes. He looks at my notes, looks at me, and he's like, oh my God, you're Larry Chang. You go to every party. I can't believe you know how to read. I saw him think that because he had nowhere to sign. So he's like, wow, you really like this book. I'm like, yeah, Startup Death Spiral, that's what's killing every business, which is the founders and the top employees. They never want to talk to customers. They're trying to delegate distribution. They're trying to offload VP of sales. Once you fire 2 VP of sales, your company's going to go bankrupt. That's right out of Steve Blank, page 57, page 68, Customer Development Cycle, chapter 2. He goes to me, hey, where are you sitting? I'm like, I don't have a seat right now. I'm on the wait list. He goes, I have good news for you. Not all of my people are going to be at my table. If you like to join me on my table, there's enough room. I'm like, what? I'm going from crasher to VIP? I'm like, let me make sure that I take care of, but thank you for your offer, but let me make sure that it's okay with the host. Let me organize something and let me grab you a water. So I drop off a bottle of water for him and I walk over to Dave McClure. I'm like, hey, Dave, uh, Steve Blank said I could join him on his table. And he goes, fucking figures. He goes, fucking figures. Because Crasher to VIP is guacamole recipe number 4. Crasher to VIP. He goes, fucking figures. I could have screwed Dave McClure out of the $75, but instead I was like, hey, I'm going to join him for his table, and I gave him the $75. He looks at me like, oh my God, you have exact change, and I need $5 bills. You see, I could have screwed him because now I'm Steve Blank's guest, but I already inked a deal with Dave McClure saying, hey, if a spot opens, which a spot did, it was just a really good spot. Now I'm not going to save the 75. Why do I bring this story up? Because if I don't do that, Dave McClure doesn't have me be the co-founder of Geeks on a Plane, which is not necessarily Crasher to VIP like you want to crash parties, but Crasher to VIP in how you enter industries that you are not invited into. This is the same presentation as day number 7, I think, of hashtag 26 days of OpenAI ducking bankruptcy, which is when somebody called me a fraud, I was like, F you, comma, how to speak at any conference as an unemployed person, end quote. Let me repeat that because this is 2 books, 1 guy, how to speak at any conference while you're unemployed. What you're doing by speaking at the conference is you're selling book club subscriptions for not $800, but $0 while speaking at a conference. How? You see, I was asking Steve Blank questions by taking notes in Steve Blank's book while sitting at Steve Blank's table. Once I ask a question, technically I am speaking at that conference. But more specifically, I could have done another after party after the keynote dinner, which is, would you like to have more Q&A with Steve Blank? That's how you're speaking at a conference as an unemployed person, is you go read the agenda of the conference. For example, December 10 through December 12, there's a conference, Leverage Finance Conference at the Ritz-Carlton, South Beach, Miami. You read the agenda, Cantor Fitzgerald, brain fart, leverage finance. So when you ask general questions about being general, you're just not specific. I'm being incredibly specific. You could show a little gratitude. Cantor Fitzgerald, December 10, December 12, speaking at that conference as an unemployed person, which you walk and talk like one. No pressure. Let's get you a job offer after you speak at a conference. At that conference, you look for an author of a book. What are you going to do? You're running external API protocol, hashtag external API, hashtag guacamole recipe number 4, doing an after party. This is how. Let's say they're speaking December 11 at 12 noon. Even the person who's flying in on a private jet into MIA, Miami International, is not going to fly in at 9 a.m. and fly out at 4 p.m. They're just not. Why? Because, hey, it's Miami. Let's get in the night before and let's stay a couple, because people will know that I'm in Miami. You're the speaker at Cantor Fitzgerald. You have a book. The after party does not come after the party. You can put the after party the night before. Why? Because it's genius. Why? Because you're developing book club for the book at the conference, Cantor Fitzgerald. When you ask questions in a fireside chat, you have installed yourself as a speaker. How many books did this author sell? Not very many. Look up the ISBN number. So when the ISBN number shows not selling very many books, what are we doing? We're not selling books for $800. We're selling books for not a lot of money or $0. This is the magic of this. To the 40 people maximum who come, the first 20 people will get a free book. How does a free book work? You charge them $65. If they show up, they get their $65 back, because that's one Steve Blank book, or whoever the author is. The author almost has to come. Why? Because you're promising them, one, you're going to be at the Ritz-Carlton in the hotel lobby area hosting a book reception with a podcast, which is where you're asking questions. It's $65. But if people show up, they get their $65 back and a book. What's going to happen here is you're going from crashing that conference to speaking at that conference, because they should have put him in a cocktail party with no cocktails. They should have booked for him a dinner with no dinner. The reason it's a cocktail with no cocktails, the reason it's a dinner with no dinner, is because you're unemployed and you're being honest about it, which is, would you honestly like to meet this author? This is his chapter 9. This is his step 6. See, you're using AI to help better distribute his book. That's the cryptic hashtag that is still pinned, which is hashtag CS183E, hashtag CS183D. What this is change one letter, make it amazing. It's predicting what questions will be asked, which is, what in the world is Larry Chang even talking about? CS183E. You see, CS183 was done by a pansexual neurodivergent who has a 4-part lecture series on the Antichrist. It's so pansexual while being neurodivergent. My mentee, Peter Thiel, made it into a South Park episode for a third time or a first time. It doesn't matter. It took place October 15, South Park. It's a cartoon that makes fun of people. CS183. If you ask the pansexual neurodivergent, hey, what was your class number? Because last time I checked, you didn't study Stanford Engineering, you just talked there. Would have no clue what his own class number is. It turns out most professors, true story, Larry Chang knows your class better than you know your class, they don't even know their own class number, let alone what's on lecture number 11. Lecture number 11, STRAM GT 353, or lecture number 9, Steve Blank, Engineering 145. Do you see how Silicon Valley hates me? Because it's not my fault. I understand you're not bullshit. You're genius shit better than you do. It's not my fault. Ditto Kobe Bryant. It's not his fault that Michael Jordan said, who's the best basketball player in the world? You or LeBron? He's like, that would be Kobe. Because why? Because he stole all of my moves. Every time I hear people in sports who aren't as smart as me, which is 100.0%, say, Jordan, LeBron, who do you got? I'm like, well, my friend Mike Jordan, whose phone number you can actually guess if you knew some basic information about Mike Jordan. Ditto Scottie Pippen. If you looked at his phone number, you could actually guess what his phone number is. Ditto Barack Obama, which is Jordan saying Kobe's better. The reason I'm better than Steve Blank, and I know that sounds not sacrilegious, that sounds like it's amazing, because I know all the things that he wrote out and took the time to Web 12 it. You see, I didn't have AI to do to pansexual neurodivergent Steve Blank. I didn't have AI to do Steve Blank. I had to ML it, which is machine lariat. I had to AI intelligent it. I needed an Asian intelligent it, meaning I had to ask myself, hey, who's going to teach CS 183 C, D, E, F, G after Peter Thiel anointed his situationship, Sam Altman, pansexual neurodivergent, to teach CS 183B. So when Peter doesn't, one, even learn what my class is, Engineering 145, and then has another guy who doesn't understand Engineering 145 teach CS 183B, I was like, thank you for the fuck you. I'm going to lay out C, D, E, F, G all the way to Z. Why? Because it's hilarious. Two, I am AI, Asian intelligent. I want to be OI, Orientally intelligent, but I'll take AI, which is once you say that you're going to have a B, I'm not going to go to C, because I figured, just like when I heard what Web 2 was, which is a poop show, I'm like, I bet 3 sucks. Coining Web 3, knowing it'll suck. I didn't touch CS183C because I'm like, I bet it sucks. Sure enough, it does suck. It's called blitzscaling. Reid Hoffman. Pedo Island, confirmed. Reid Hoffman. Where I did D, this comes to, hey Larry, how do I make $80? This sounds amazing. The reason I did D is genius on 649 levels. Dare I say 650? Because D is the Achilles heel, which Steve Blank approaches but does not solve, which is distribution. Steve Blank, trade show like you mean it. That's a blog post that didn't make it into his book. Why? Because you can't tell Columbia, Cal, and Stanford engineers to do distribution work. Why can't you tell them that? Because once you tell them that, your popularity plummets. Let me repeat that. The number one cause of startups going under is lack of distribution, lack of their founders talking to users. But your popularity plummets when you say, go do sales work as an engineer. You can't have sales work done by a non-engineer if you're doing a tech startup. Well, now you can, because you can get away with it. But before, and still now you couldn't. That's why calling it CS183D for distribution was hilarious and genius. Fast forward, not even a year, maybe 2 years, year and a half, the co-founder of OpenAI with the co-founder of OpenAI, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, posed a question in 2015, exactly 10 years ago, plus 2 months, 2 days, which is this. Who at Stanford is going to teach CS183D? Asked on September 14, 2015. The reason that's significant is I already posted 60,000 tweets. That's not schizo, that's putting all of my resources in a creek bed so that way you don't flank me. Who is the Harvard alumni who is colonel in We Were Soldiers Once and Young, Hal Moore. I amassed all of my resources in that creek bed so that way my line could not get flanked. That's tagging the content Computer Science 183D. What you just got was why Chapter 9, why Step 6, because it's not that people don't want to do distribution work, it's that people theoretically can't do it, can't hand out a cookie to get feedback, can't ask for money. Here's the asking for money component, not from me to you, not from you to me. It's asking for $800. When you ask for $800, they're gonna be like, whoa, I could have just bought that book for 20 bucks. You're going to say, look, you seem like a poor person because that's how poor people act. The best way to rip money from a rich person is to tell them, hey, what you just said, it's bankruptcy talk. This is what I'm going to do for you. Pay me $800. Read 2 chapters, chapter 9 and chapter 6. If you read 1 chapter, I will give you $400 of your $800 back. Ditto chapter 6, in that order. Why? Because you talk and walk like a poor person. Would you like to get this deal? Well, then how do you benefit? You're gonna lose 20 bucks. I'm like, come on, losing 20 bucks? Like, I'm gonna watch you make $8,000 if you're not retarded. And that's the power of the word retard. Because by eliminating the word obesity, what happens? More people are obese. We've not been able to use retard in the lexicon. Why? Well, because so many people act retarded. But then people became less retarded or more retarded because we stopped using the word retard. Less, right? Or more. See, I'm getting retarded just by having to address this. What then happens is you now are making the person really want to throw money at you. You see, this is how rich people talk to other rich people, which is why you can continue to talk to poor people and be polite and woke and polite. Or you can talk to rich people but only be rude to them when they're throwing their own money away. Let me repeat that. You can't be mean to rich people by just being mean. That's what poor people do to rich people by default, which is, oh, you have a trust fund. Oh, your daddy started an emerald mine. That's why you're the richest human on the planet, Elon Musk. And then you find out what really happened, which is step 1 of every Elon Musk company is run #external API. I know. This video is amazing. I can't help it. It's just amazing. Because that's always step 1. Let's look at zip 2. What is zip 2? well, it's Elon Musk's company. First thing he did was run an external API into the yellow pages. He arbitraged, which is business speak for transferred. No, it's just arbitrage. He arbitraged a yellow page into a web page. If you don't know what a yellow page is, it's not a social slang, it's not an ethnic slur. There's this book. It has two colors of pages. White pages, not an ethnic slur, and yellow pages, also not cultural appropriation. You see, these white pages and yellow pages, they would form this thing. It's called a phone book. You see, you're holding a phone, but you don't know how to talk on a phone because your phone's not so smart. It's really just breaking your brain. So you take these these telephone books, and then you take a page from the phone book and then you put it onto a web page. And I know you don't really know what a web page is because you haven't published any web pages, even though I've been begging you to do Web 12, publish one web page. I get it, okay, I get it, I get it. Web pages are expensive because they cost $0. I get it, I get it. That's Elon Musk's first business, a yellow page into a web page. Sold it for 60 mil or 180 mil, I forget, because Compaq paid him stock, and I think it ballooned to 180. 180 mil tends to come up over and over and over because it just does. You're welcome. 2 books